my, what a day for DCU Daily, because we have a lot of news coming for DC today. Some good, some bad, some pretty horrific, but we'll get into it soon enough. But welcome. Here we are. We are going to be, of course, starting it out with the news. As always, we have box office report because, Spider-Man. As long as Spider-Man is still in cinemas, we're going to be talking about box office report. So, passing milestones, that's just what Spider-Man does at this point. Then, there is still the Odyssey. The Odyssey is still existing in the background, just kind of chilling, getting its, box office stuff as well, like its, records and whatnot. So we're going to be talking about that as well. Not as quite as many, but still enough. Then we're going to get into MCU Weekly, a lot of Spider-Man talk in addition to box office report. It's a little bit of concept art. Tramel Tillman talks about getting the role of Metzger, as well as an update in regards to D23, what to expect for that. And then what the future that holds in terms of the grander MCU. And then we have MovieTalk Madness. We have a couple trailers. We have a little bit of, Coyote versus Acme, and apparently the American Psycho film is still trudging along, as well as reports that, Jack Lowden is in fact Bond, or at least on the short list, or being considered. So we'll talk about that. And then a little bit of TV Talk Terror. Apparently, speaking of things trudging along, apparently Henry Cavill's Warhammer show is trudging along, and there is a bit of an intriguing update that I will let you all know. And then a little bit of Ted Lasso. Apparently, although speaking of Jack Lowden, there is some slow horses talk, but not as good as Lowden being Bond. And then a couple trailers in regards to that as well. And then we have our quick hits. Regular quick hits. And then DC quick hits. We have a couple of comic book related quick hits, mainly for the Absolute Universe, and then an intriguing update in regards to My Adventures with Superman Season 4, if that's happening at all. Things are looking a bit dim, but we can hope that it's going to go forward, but we'll see. We'll talk about that. And then probably one of the biggest pieces of news in regards to, the humiliation ritual of being a DC fan is, in fact, a featurette, a behind-the-scenes featurette that DC released for a couple hours and then promptly took down just as quickly when it was revealed that Craig Gillespie, in fact, used AI to help with the creation of Lobo in the film. So, yeah, looks like the future for DC fans is still looking quite dark. So, not looking great. However, on the possible brighter side, well, not bright in a literal sense, in a metaphorical sense, depending on who you ask, is Lanterns. We're going to be talking Lanterns because the first 5 minutes of the first episode has been released 3 days ahead of schedule. So we're going to be talking about that. I watched it, obviously, so I'm going to let you know my thoughts, and it was something. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to let you guys know what my reaction is just yet. But in addition to that, there were a couple things in regards to Lanterns that was teased. Aaron Pierre's first day on set. The build up to the first 5 minutes getting released, as well as the reaction to all of that, and what Kyle Chandler as Hal, young Hal, looks like. So we got a bit of that in the trailer, but we're going to be talking about that as well. Then finally, a bit of Man of Tomorrow news. Not bad, not great, but news in regards to Man of Tomorrow. So, of course, all of that and more will be talked about after this wonderful intro to tell us that we are indeed Knuff.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
You're
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. And you're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more he don't. What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the world needs now.
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right, here we are at the news. I am, of course, your host today, John. If you don't know that by now, for the regulars, then I think you need to get your head checked at the top. Well, Caleb, too, for always needs to get his head checked. But I'm here. Dan isn't. He's probably sleeping. But gonna be talking about all sorts of things today. We gotta introduce the chat. Caleb, of course, usually in here pretty early. But they had no idea the first 5 minutes of Lanterns was released. Thoughts? Well, we'll get to that. We will get to that when we get to DCU Daily. Hey, Terrence, nice to see you. Yeah, not great, but let's not go with cooked just yet. Let's try to put on our blue lantern rings and be hopeful. Yeah, we know you're damaged, Caleb. We all know you're damaged. Your therapist, your doctor, your parents all know you are, in fact, #damaged. So, before Dan makes this another 4-hour show, let's try to get through as much as we can and talk about the box office report. Let's change that graphic and talk about Spider-Man brand. On the opposite end, you had DC had one bright year for 2025, maybe a year and a half, if we're counting Legacy of the Dark Knight earlier this year, and then just fucking absolutely tanked in every respect for right now. So, Spider-Man Brand New Day hit $700 million at the domestic box office, one of the 7 movies to ever reach such a milestone. It's been reported by both Variety and Deadline. So, yeah, pretty fracking big, and at this point, by the weekend, it's probably going to hit $2 billion and be one of the few movies to actually do so. But very lovely. Yeah, let's try to keep it that way. Indeed, the Toei Spider-Man, 100%. I mean, come on, that Spider-Man uses a Tommy gun. Honestly, I might watch that to brighten my spirits a bit after, I was kind of disappointed by this one. But, way to go, guys. It is crossing $700 million at the US box office. So Sony/Marvel Studios Spider-Man Brand New Day crossed 700 million, just like we told you it would, but there's another record here. It's now the fastest movie to cross that benchmark, doing it in just 13 days. Prior to this, both Force Awakens and Endgame tied as the fastest movies to hit $700 million, both doing so in 16 days, so a little over 2 weeks. Brand New Day with $704.5 million in North America is running 31% ahead of No Way Home at the same point in time. The latter ended its domestic run at $804.7 million. Yeah, it's going to definitely supersede that. Currently, Brand New Day is the 6th highest grossing movie ever at the domestic box office. There's only been 7 movies, including Brand New Day, to cross 700 million, which were Force Awakens, Endgame, No Way Home, Avatar, the original, Top Gun Maverick, and Black Panther. So the only few that were... So technically, the only one that was not a Disney production, retroactively, is Top Gun Maverick, because Avatar technically nowadays is a Disney production, but if we're being technical, then it's Avatar and Top Gun Maverick, but retroactively, Avatar did become that. So Top Gun Maverick is the only one, that's, well, until Disney gets their paws on Paramount, but we'll see. What the World Now is Love, Sweet Love. No Deadpool? I don't think so. Actually, you know what? I'm curious. Let's see what Deadpool and Wolverine got. I assume you mean Deadpool and Wolverine, since that's the only one that has hit $1 billion. That, it actually, didn't even crack 700 million. In its entire domestic run, it reached $636 million. So, no, World of Weeb, we did not get there in terms of Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, no Deadpool because it didn't reach it. It never reached $700 million. So yeah, get fucked, Deadpool. The international haul for Destin Daniel Cretton's directed Spidey stands at $1.108 billion, and that's a record for Sony, besting the 1.106 of previous foreign box office champ No Way Home. And probably thanks to China, and we'll get to that in a second. Brand New Days Foreign BO is the 10th highest ever for any movie. So yeah, congratulations. I just wish, it was the perfect 10 out of 10 for me, but we'll get there. Also, thanks, Dan, for giving your own money back into the show. It's a funnel operation. Anyway, but now we go to Luis Fernando's word vomit. He, is essentially saying what, Variety and Deadline have been saying already. In terms of the biggest second Wednesday of all time: Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Way of Water, No Way Home, Avatar, Rogue One, Rise of Skywalker, Sing, Welcome to the Jungle, The Odyssey, Brand New Day, and Barbie all reach. It was towards the tail end, but it still got there. But congrats. Now, it is currently, in terms of right now, now this one said, I believe, 1.1, well, 1.108. Well, actually, it is 1.8 billion at the global box office as of noon earlier today. Today, it's outgrossing Zootopia 2's entire global run, and on Saturday, it'll become the third comic book movie to ever cross 2 billion worldwide. So again, congratulations. Yeah, Deadpool is the highest R-rated grossing film. Deadpool and Wolverine is, but yeah, it never got to what they were talking about, which is $700 million domestically. It reached 700 million internationally, foreign excluding domestic, but it didn't quite reach it for purely domestic. So, with all of that, let's get into it. But yeah, next is Spider-Man Brand New Day, crossing 200 million at the Chinese box office, which is pretty damn insane. But it's China. They fucking love Spider-Man. I mean, everyone loves Spider-Man. That's not a new thing. So hang on a sec. I'm just gonna grab this. There we go. But yeah, so China is definitely majorly helping in regards to this. Also, hi Monique. Oh no, it's okay. You don't have to apologize. It was kind of a quick start. Apologies for that, but that's okay. That's okay. So don't you worry. Petite sirloin steak, shrimp scampi, white cheddar, super rice, and sliced watermelon. That sounds delicious. I didn't eat anything today because there was nothing good in the house and I didn't feel like going out. And I can't bring in a delivery because my sister has an autoimmune disorder. So I can't do any of that. Anyway, but that's all right. That's okay. I'm big enough. I'll live. But with all of that, yeah, this is insane. This is crazy, but makes sense for Spider-Man. I've only, we can get there for all of this. But yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Hang on. I'm just doing a couple things behind the scenes because for some reason it didn't update. But yeah, I don't know why that didn't work. Why did that not work? Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. And Spidey's projected to finish between 2.5 to 2.7 billion. But hey, that number keeps growing. We need a Spooderman to make a Spood billion. Oh no, it's fine. Don't worry about me. Yeah, no, she's fine. It's just, I can't order a pizza to the house because it'll make her sick. So the only thing I ate was sadness after hearing recent DC news. Honestly, same. I might have. There's like a packet of rice in the pantry. I might have that later because I'm starting to feel that. To be fair, my stomach has been off all day. I had a little bit too much to eat yesterday, so that's kind of why. So anyway, it's the highest grossing comic book movie in China since Avengers Endgame. So we'll see if it crosses that. But who knows, considering China kind of maybe sort of lies about their numbers. Anyway, yes sirree. Yes sirree. But yeah, thank you. Moving on. And in addition to China's box office, it becomes the number 4 Hollywood film post COVID to cross the $200 million mark, as Brand New Day now is in third place against 2 local newcomers, grossed solid $2.8 million on third Thursday over 71,000 screenings, a 61.6% drop from the second Thursday, and it is specifically at 200.6 million in just 16 days. So, yeah, China's killing, and that's not the last we're going to hear of China, because we also have to talk about the Odyssey. So, yeah, it's fine. She knows how to work it. Um, but that's not the only thing. That is not the only thing we have, because Odyssey is also killing it. Again, as I said, it's kind of in the background, kind of just chilling. But it's quite all right. Epic the Odyssey finishes fourth full week at global box office, beating Minions' 1.16 run as Universal's number 6 highest grossing film ever, and could beat Deadpool and Wolverine. Speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, this weekend, Christopher Nolan reached $695.3 million cum overseas on fourth Wednesday over 81 international markets ahead of China joining tomorrow and Japan only in September. Allied to its 477.1 cum in the US, the Epic, with a $250 million production price tag, not including marketing, hits a 1.17 global cum, beating Captain Marvel, Far From Home, Return of the King, Aquaman, Civil War, and Minions as number 32 highest grossing film of all time globally. On Friday, it'll cross the $1.2 billion mark, and beat The Fate of the Furious' $1.24 billion run to enter Universal's all-time top 5 global hits. It also has a chance of beating Fallen Kingdom and Deadpool and Wolverine as the highest grossing R-rated film of all time by the end of Sunday, depending on its debut in China. So, yeah, it's like, sure, it might not be as fast or as big as Spider-Man right now. It is still very much killing it. Like, say what you will about, the Odyssey not being as big as a hit as Spider-Man. It's still killing it. It's still breaking records, you know? So, it has beaten Wicked's $470 million run as Universal's number 3 highest grossing film of all time at specifically the US box office. Legendary 4.9 million on second biggest fourth Wednesday of all time, despite losing theaters week by week. But yeah, the Odyssey, boom, top 5 biggest fourth Wednesday of all time. So it's eyeing a 580 million to 600 million run in the US. So say what you will, the Odyssey is still doing pretty damn well, and it's honestly a better movie. So that is it for box office report. Now we are going to head into MCU Daily. Yes, MCU Daily. If you didn't hear the news, it's daily now, not weekly, because we talk about it every day anyway. But it's still going to be Brand New Day. Going back to Brand New Day talk, I should say. It's not much, but it's a chance to see more Alex Ross. And you know what? Alex Ross is Kino, so I will always share his work here if I get a chance to. So, yeah, awesome stuff. I think this was specifically the stuff he did for the intro sequence for Spider-Man 2. But then you got, Spider-Man Daredevil, you got all this, got that. Just like, oof, look at this peak right here. Look at this fucking peak. I think this was for a variant cover for, the Parker Industries Spider-Man, because that's that suit. So, yeah, God. This is so awesome. Such perfection. Alex Ross is my favorite. I know not a lot of people like the realism angle, but damn, bro. Peak. Anyway, let's move on. This isn't Spider-Man Brand New Day specific, but, you know, it's all right because Alex Ross is amazing. But going back to Brand New Day, concept art for the Hulk from Brand New Day, inspired by the Frankenstein's monster. So, and by the way, not AI. So, boom, there we go. And honestly, I like the long hair for the Hulk. I always preferred it where he has like, the hair like below, like, the bangs on his forehead. I think that's way fucking better than, something like this where it's like shaved or, parted back. That's just personal preference, but yeah, this is great concept art. So Caleb, I actually got a copy of the Odyssey from my local library with visual illustrations. Plan on reading it mostly before seeing the film for once and for all. The Spider-Man art looks excellent. Love the color use and lighting. Alex Ross is the GOAT. Yes. Long hair Hulk would be sick to see in live action. Makes him look even more terrifying. I mean, there kind of was in the 2008 film, but not like this. I like the black hair here, and I like the kind of demonic looking eyes. That just looks fucking cool as hell, bro. Yeah, awesome. But now we're moving on to not concept art, but Tremel Tillman says I had to sign I had to sign multiple NDAs, not just one NDA, multiple NDAs before even meeting for Spider-Man Brand New Day role. A little frustrating because everything was shrouded in secrecy. Yeah, crazy, but like with how Marvel is at this point, can you really blame them? But yeah, so he had this to say. He's like, I'm pretty sure I had to sign NDAs even before that conversation happened. Um, it was a little frustrating because everything was shrouded in secrecy. Um, but so we're kind of playing this back and forth game where I'm asking Destin, well, what can you tell me? And Destin would say, it's this and that, but I can't say anything more than that. But he told me it was a pivotal role, and that's about it. So this was a leap of faith. Do I want to jump at this opportunity, or do I want to hold off and wait for another potential opportunity at Marvel? And he decided to take the leap and crafted a character he compares to Barack Obama, considering Metzger was kind of the secret villain of the movie. I don't know if that's a good, case, but sure. I had this inkling that Metzger had just a little bit of swag, a little smoothness. There's a fullness, a calmness, a steadiness there. So yeah, like I mean, I was intrigued with his character. I'm curious if he has a future because, like, by the end of the movie, spoiler alert, he just kind of goes off and he's just out in the world. He escaped, so we'll see what Metzger brings us. I mean, in the comics, he is like part of this like anti-mutant group, so he probably like ducks out for like a couple of years, and then when X-Men comes up, whether it's in the movie or just in that world, um he's probably gonna crop back up as the leader of this like anti-mutant group. So hello, Movie Spud, lovely to see you in honor for Hitchcock's birthday, watching Foreign Correspondent. Nice. I've heard that's a good one. So way to go. I'm stuck reviewing about how DC sucks now, but that's okay. Now we get to something that I absolutely abhor, and thank God Dan's not here to fucking to defend this crap. But Spider-Man Brand Day writers believe there's one line Jean Grey didn't cross, and well, what's that line? Well, they say it right here. So Chris McKenna and Eric Summers were asked if they had any concerns about Jean's actions. They said, I think technically she's not responsible for any deaths, but if you come away with the impression, certainly she's caused a lot of destruction and mayhem. If you're going to have a villain who really is redeemed at the end or goes through a transformation, you have to start them off in a place where they feel formidable. The problem with that is she's not redeemed by the end of the movie. She just kind of gets away with it scot-free and moves the fuck on. Exactly where multiple people died. Like, I don't know if she was redeemed. I think you can say she's redeemed, but I don't know. That's just lazy writing. Yeah, 100%. If it doesn't feel like this is going to be someone who is a challenge to our hero physically, emotionally, mentally, then you don't really buy it. What we were really excited about was this villain got to be a mystery for so long in the movie. We were in Peter's shoes. We were not putting the audience ahead of him. So he was reacting to everything, and we were with him reacting. And they said it was really fun to have Peter experience MJ learning the truth twice, even though the first time was kind of sort of sexual assault, but sure. The midpoint is this mislead where he thinks he's got everything when Jean inhabits MJ on the rooftop. It's his dream come true that she remembers him and that she's in love with him still. And of course, then then the twist is a stab to the heart. But then the real true low point comes when he does have that moment and he's able to let her know the truth, and it does not go how we hoped and dreamed. And yeah, while that was a good scene, it was a good, well done scene. I just wish they didn't have that scene earlier on in the movie where, like, technically Jean Grey uses her powers to sexually assault both MJ and Peter at the same time. So, oh, that's cool. May see the end of Oak Street on Sunday. I forgot a lot. Honestly, just wipe her memories at this point because, or just like kill her off, bring in her clone, and that's like the only way I feel like you can redeem her at this point. Yeah, I've said before and I'll say again, this version of Jean Grey, yeah, it was nice to see the power, the true Omega level power that she is. It was Sadie Sink was great in the role. It's just the writing was complete and utter dog shit, not understanding what the character is. I understand in the comics she hasn't done everything pitch for perfect and amazing, but yeah, it just I just don't think that this really worked, and I feel like the people defending it just like it would be like the same thing if you like defended a school shooter from killing people because I don't know, they're troubled. I don't know, that just feels really weird. But yeah, well, yeah, I mentioned that they, manipulated MJ and Peter in that scene. Bring her in her adult version. I don't like this version. I'll take Famke Jensen over anything. I'll even take Sophie Turner, even though they barely did anything with that character. They introduced her and then immediately gave her the Phoenix Force. But yeah, it's just weak. But her sister, yeah, okay, her sister fucking deserved it. She deserved it too. Again, non-consensually taking over people's minds. Not great. Your mother was right to fucking abandon you both. But the failure of Supergirl really put DC back. But here's hoping Lanterns and Clayface is really good and Man of Tomorrow knocks it out of the park. I agree. Also Magneto storyline is kind of messed up due to this. We'll look back at this character and movie in 2 years and go, yeah, it wasn't great. Yeah, I think that'll be the case. It's just, I hate to say this because it's kind of easy to go this route, and I don't want to go this route, but you are kind of proving Jack Nicholson's character correct in the movie As Good as It Gets, where I think one of his fans asks, how do you write women so well? And he's like, I just think of a man and take away reason and accountability. That is essentially Jean Grey in this movie. She is essentially a character without reason and accountability. So, oh yeah, 100%. Kind of like what most people said with No Way Home, where like the first half was not very good. I don't hate the first half. I could see why people have problems with it. I don't like abhorrently hate it because it feels different for the most part from the rest of the Home trilogy. So, I haven't watched it. I'll wait until I watch it. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Lanterns. Okay. But yeah, that it just all of this doesn't feel right. And I have a feeling just like what happened with like Force Awakens, people took a step back and were like, yeah, this really, when the hype dies down, people are gonna see the flaws. Like it's just right now, it's all cylinders fired, everything. It's just like the hype, the box office, everything right now is just hype train. So yeah, and with that, we move on. Aman Vellani believes Spider-Man Brand New Day's success
hold on for a
disproves
second.
notion
For a
of
second.
superhero fatigue.
No. For a second, I'm like, you can't just say that, like, because her character was very well written. Okay,
No, it
I'm like,
wasn't.
you can
Anyway,
rag on it, and I'm like, I'm sure you're obviously part of the prudish Gen Z, so that's fine. But I'm like, I thought her character had plenty motivation. But anyway, I'll leave
British
it there.
Gen
I thought
Z.
Jean Grey
I'm not
was
even
very
Gen
well
Z.
written.
What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway,
Dude,
Aman Vellani
the way you're
believes
talking about it,
Spider-Man Brand New
anyway.
Day's success disproves notion of superhero fatigue. Because Aman Vellani is based. That's why. We love we stan Aman Vellani in this household.
I love it, man.
So,
Yeah.
and Vellani
Best parts
said
of the
people
MCU.
showed up on the first week. Nobody really believed in superhero fatigue. Nobody really believed that this movie was going to fail, and they were over superhero movies. They
Oh, yeah, of
wanted
course,
to
thank you.
succeed. I think we're so used to being cynical and assuming that everything new coming out is going to suck and it's all propaganda. I agree. Or
Mhm.
people's attention spans are too low. No, we can appreciate a good thing when we see it. I agree. Like it's like this was her on the Revenge of the Podcast, and honestly, Kevin Feige needs to hand the keys to her because she knows what she's talking about consistently. Honestly, James Gunn needs to hand the keys to her because she'd probably do a better job at DC than whatever the fuck they're doing right
My
now.
hair?
So I just think, yeah, I think I fully agree. Aman Vellani's based. We all knew this. I don't know what
Wait,
else is there to say.
What else did she say? I was in the chat. Did she say like it's just people are not tired of superhero movies, they just want original stuff?
Well, yeah,
'Cause
no, it's
I know we
people
kinda heard
show
about
like
that
this
before.
was the
Yeah.
quote, where it's
Yeah.
like we're used to people being cynical, but we can appreciate a good
Mhm.
thing when we see it. Just like Obsession, just like Backrooms, yeah, they kind of have built-in audiences a little bit, but it's just like people will go see good movies. People will go see, and
Yeah. That's
I
always
mean,
been
this
true.
was more along the lines of like
Yeah.
a famous, like the most famous, arguably Spider-Man being like the most famous IP in the history of fucking cinema at this point.
That's
So,
true. That's
people
true.
are gonna go
But
see
look,
that. Like Tom Holland
yeah.
could take a shit for 2 hours and people will fucking go see it and it'll make $3
Okay,
billion.
I know, but I
So-
feel but I hope I know we say those things, but like I know that we say those things to exaggerate because it's not like let's not take because like the thing about this is like people like to make an argument with exaggeration in their favor, but then also like it's Spider-Man Brand New Day is not it's a good movie. Here's the thing. If it wasn't a good movie, it could have just tapped out at $700 million odd dollars like the Amazing Spider-Man movies did. It could have tapped out at $1 billion even. It could have tapped out at 1.92 billion, which it's gonna cross by the end of this weekend. The fact that it can get to potentially number 2, maybe even number 1 of all time, $2.7 billion. I'm like, look, I respect the opinion and the criticism. I'll address the Superman thing, Chimera, in a second. But like, I accept and I address and I respect the criticism and people who are obviously in the minority on this movie where they're like, this is not a movie that I like. I didn't think it was good because the majority opinion is saying the movie is fantastic, it's spectacular, the best the MCU has done in years. And there's a reason. I'm like, look, there's $2.2 billion worth of people that bought tickets to go see the fucking thing all over the world. So
yeah.
If you want to critique it and you don't like it, I mean, it's okay. You're in the minority. I've been in the minority and stuff before, and that's okay. I will always be in the minority on something like a Man of Steel, right? And
I don't think it's a minority thing. I think it's more like half and half. I think.
Amazing
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I mean,
you're definitely a minority on that one.
Well, there you go.
But who
So,
cares?
right.
It's whatever.
Yeah. And Caleb saying, I'll be curious about your opinions on the film years later after the hype then. Oh, no, this is not. See, this is the thing. I'm like, Liz said it about like Superman last year when I went to see it for the first time. And like, people sometimes question this. I'm like, look, Spider-Man Brand New Day for me, I've seen the thing 3 times. I'm not hyping it up because I'm just like, oh my God, it's the biggest thing right now. Look, we don't do things I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a hint. We don't do things on this show on an editorial level just so that we can ride the rails on whatever is the hottest thing in the moment. We're here to talk about what is the most relevant news. There's a reason why we're talking about shit that's not even going to matter later. Like, for example, we're going to talk about an Academy Museum gala thing where 3 celebrities are going to get honored. Nobody gives a shit outside of the Hollywood elite, but we bring it up because it's valuable because we're celebrating the careers of
Carpenter, and I'm a
exactly. That's what I mean. But like, we do it because we value like the amount of stuff we leave on the show that doesn't make the rundown. John can tell you, like, if there's 50 things we're talking about, there's 20 other things that we chose not to talk about.
20 more like 200.
Exactly. So and so we're not just here to talk about something that's just like the biggest thing ever. It's just. Sure, we all live in bubbles online. So like, if you hate the movie, you're more likely to consume content because that's what the algorithms will feed you. that is agreeing with your opinion, and that's fine. But like, as far as getting back to the, the superhero fatigue thing, look, Superman, like Chimera was saying, was a great movie. Now, Superman as a character is popular, but Superman is nowhere near as popular, unfortunately, today as Spider-Man, and then Batman as well. Batman is single-handedly carrying the comic book industry right now. Like, you got the mainline Batman and Absolute Batman and everything around Absolute Batman, to the point they're making an animated show out of it. Like, it's just undoubtedly, here's the thing. It's kind of like Captain America, right? Captain America is the original Marvel superhero. But that wasn't one of the characters that Sony or Fox or New Line or any of Warner Brothers, any of the other studios licensed off when Marvel had to like sell off rights just to protect itself from yet another bankruptcy in the 90s, early 2000s. There's a reason for that. Even the Hulk, Universal did stuff with, right? There's a reason for these things. Now, things have changed. Hello, Sanju. But like, as far as superhero fatigue goes, I think we've mentioned it before. We don't need to, hash that one out. I think people are tired of seeing formulaic movies. And if you live long enough, if you've been around long enough, you will realize that Western movies kind of went the same way. Eventually, people got tired of seeing the same tropes over and over again, and you had to innovate. What happened with Westerns was they kind of went away, and then they survived on the brink or on the fringes. And now they're back in a way where you got neo-Westerns. And even like there was a few years ago, we were doing the podcast, and it's like, we had like 4 Westerns every year. All of a sudden, it was like the renaissance of Western movies, like just legit straight up Westerns. Netflix had them, a bunch indie studios had them, the big studios had them. It was just, it happens. Things go through cycles. The superhero genre, though, is so much bigger than any other genre that's been the it genre.
Because the
of
thing
the
about
moment.
the superhero genre,
It's
Dan,
never gonna go
is
away.
that the thing is, what makes the superhero genre so fucking innately interesting is that you can do other genres in the superhero genre. You can make a horror superhero movie, Clayface. You can make a coming of age superhero movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. You can make like a Cold War thriller, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. You can make like so many different things under the guise of a superhero film. You can make a neo-Western superhero film, Logan. You can make like action comedy, Guardians of the Galaxy. You can make so many different things in the superhero genre that it's just like, it's a thing that once they clicked and the hits started coming in terms of at least the cinematic universe part of it, I would say maybe late 90s. I would say when it was really starting to hit, like with stuff like Blade and X-Men and Spider-Man. When these, like, again, look at that. Those are 3 very, very different movies. One is a horror action film. One is like a kind of sort of a coming of age, like soap opera in a way. And then one is like an ensemble, like sci-fi team film. So like you can do those things and it works.
Exactly. Yeah, look.
But the thing is, you have to do them well.
And musicals,
you can't
also.
just do a genre and expect greatness.
Exactly, and Westerns and musicals also evolved over the years, because you just went from being like a musical for the sake of a musical to like now it's a musical, but that is also a lot of other things. Or like, like same thing with Westerns. I think, like you said, John, it's just the superhero genre is a lot more diversified, and so the superhero genre has more places to go. What's been the problem is studios were lazy, and we were getting used. So there was a period, I think even now, like Supergirl is an example of that. Supergirl is a movie that we've talked about all the reasons why it happened behind the scenes, and we have talked about the movie itself. Like there's a lot of reasons why the movie just felt like it was a rehash of every worn down trope in the superhero genre. And then also the movie really didn't commit to any ideas that like made it truly worth standing out from the rest. Like Superman last year really committed to the idea of Superman as this hopeful. Like here's the thing, if you take away one really good original idea away from from any movie, this is kind of like my thinking, and I'll address the Spider-Man comment in a bit, but hello Fuki, like if you take away one really interesting idea away from any movie that you see, whether it's an Evil Dead movie, or whether it's a Spider-Man movie, or a Supergirl movie, or a Star Wars movie, if you take one interesting idea away from a film, I think the film has done its job of like trying to make you think about something you didn't think about before you walked in and walked out of the movie theater. Like, I will say this, The Last Jedi is a very up and down movie. I projected that thing on 70mm IMAX for weeks on end, watched it many a times, and I will tell you, it is one of the most imperfect, frustrating Star Wars movies ever made, because it is so close to being great and so far away from being great at the same time. But the one interesting idea that movie suggested, which I think no other Star Wars movie has truly said outside of maybe Andor, which is not even a movie, is this idea that you don't have to come from some kind of royal lineage to be a master of the Force.
Yeah.
Some random kid sweeping the streets on a random moon in a solar system across the galaxy could become the next, great Force wielder. And the reason why a lot of people truly hate the Rise of Skywalker is that movie completely destroyed and walked back that entire idea by saying that, oh no, Rey isn't just some rando that happens to be really good with the Force. She is the granddaughter of motherfucking Palpatine. And so even for a movie like that, as long as there's with Superman, the interesting idea was this. John, what's the one thing out of Superman that you got out? Because for me, it was Superman is just a man who values kindness in a world that doesn't value kindness enough.
Yeah.
And that's something James Gunn has said. But that is literally, if you wanted to boil the whole movie and everything from the Justice Gang to Lex Luthor to everything down to one idea, why does Lex Luthor hate Superman? Because Superman is just a dude who values kindness, but has incredible power, but doesn't choose to use it for the kind of things that Lex thinks that power should be used for. That's why Lex Luthor hates Superman. And that's one idea that, that made Superman such a successful movie. With Spider-Man, what makes Spider-Man so successful, I think the one idea for me was, it's a movie about...
He's relatable.
Somebody who's having real problems that we can relate to. He's also, the biggest idea of Spider-Man is that Spider-Man being alone in the modern world.
Was because he catered to the audience at the time. It was mainly kids reading this.
Yeah.
And the best that kids got at the time was a sidekick character, which famously Stan Lee fucking hated. He hated sidekicks. Because, I don't know why specifically, but I think it was because it was talking down to the audience. You're not good enough to be the hero, but you can be the friend to the hero. And I think that's, and as well as maybe putting kids in dangerous situations. I don't really know. That's why, Bucky fucking immediately died, and back during that time of Captain America. But it Spider-Man was the first one where he was a kid, he was a teenager. The people reading the comics at the time were teenagers and young kids, and they're like, wow, I can be a hero. And the thing that worked about that was he dealt with kid/teen problems, oh man, I can't get the girl and go to the dance. Oh shucks, that sucks. And or when he eventually became older, he's like, oh fuck, I can't pay my rent on time. Oh, my utilities are gonna get shut off. Literally every fucking person can relate to that, because everybody fucking goes through that at one point or another. So you have this relatable character of, he's a teenager, but also goes through real world issues. Yeah, Tony Stark might, go through something similar, but Spider-Man is the one that's kind of incessant about it. It's always going to be there. He always deals with these real world issues. Marvel heroes usually go through real world issues. That's why it's kind of funny how DC became the dark one and Marvel became the bright one, when it was always the opposite for so long. Yeah. Because Marvel was grounded in reality.
Marvel is the world outside our window.
It was in New York. New York exists instead of, Metropolis and Gotham City, and Opal City, and these places that don't fucking exist. Because it was a heightened sense of reality, and they were brighter and more juvenile. Not necessarily bad, but it was more fantastical elements. While the Marvel Universe was down, gritty, and dark, and especially with more street-level heroes that reached that point as well, with Spider-Man being one of them. So it was just that's why Spider-Man has endeared for so long, is because of that. Yeah, the comics for Spider-Man might kind of blow now, but it's still, no matter what, he's an endearing character that we want to see come out okay, and he's a good character, and he's a kind character, and but it's not over the top where you don't believe it. He's just a good guy who wants to do the right thing, much like Superman does, but just in a more kind of realistic sense.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and then to the question that Sanju had about comic book sales for Spider-Man
because
movies.
There is actually a reason for this. Troyobo17 did a good video on this. where he was like talking about like hot takes of Spider-Man, like just random things about lore, and he's like, the reason that Spider-Man comics kind of blow now is because Spider-Man isn't a character to Marvel anymore. He's a brand. He's the face of the company, kind of like how Mickey Mouse is the face of Disney. You don't really see like things about Mickey Mouse, like stories about Mickey Mouse anymore, because he's an icon.
They interrogate the character.
Spider-Man is an icon. So like because they have this weird wraparound of like, we need to do these things with this character, but we can't do too much because it'll like will sacrifice like the iconography of the character. You know, that's essentially what it is. So it's like you can't take risks anymore. You can't do things that people want to see because that's not in the realm of the brand that we want to do. So that's kind of why Spider-Man is just kind of in the shitter right now, because he's just stuck in this place. Look, and Marvel editorial refuses to go beyond.
Exactly. And that's why, look, they just made a big change. They basically took the previous editor-in-chief and said, you're going to Japan. And they brought in a guy who used to be at Marvel when the comics were still good. So obviously, and then, you know, Marvel's sort of been jolted in the comic book world out of their complacency, because why DC's not playing it safe with their biggest character, Detective Comics, Batman. They're like, we can have our, you know, cake and eat it too, because we will have a mainline Batman, which looks fantastic, and we will have Absolute Batman,
Matt
which
Fraction
looks
is doing
amazing.
great work with that.
So again, I think DC is kind of kicking Marvel's butt, but Marvel's realizing
that's the thing about Zack Snyder.
So,
that's the thing is that he should be barred from the writing process, period, because Zack Snyder can't fucking write. He is a director, and with that, how fucking awesome would it be if you got like a historical epic with a really fucking great script of a Thor movie directed by Zack Snyder? I would fucking love to see that. That would be awesome. I'd watch the shit out of that. But like, just keep him away from writing, doing. He's like, I do my own concept art. No, get the fuck out of here, Zack Snyder. Just sit behind the camera and direct your cool fucking slow motion music video shots and give us a cool looking fucking Thor movie. But he wants to be more in the nitty gritty with that, which I don't think he should be.
Which is fine. I mean, to each their own. But no, you're right. And also, like, Man of Steel, similarly, like, I thought Man of Steel worked really well because it was like an alien first contact story where Superman didn't necessarily feel like the classic version of Superman, or certainly like they were building up to that eventually. In hindsight, you could say maybe it would have worked better as an Elseworlds iteration, and then they should have just not kicked off the entire cinematic universe with Man of Steel. But obviously, they were rushing to catch up with Marvel, and
they tried to do
how
Green
badly
Lantern.
that failed. So,
it didn't work, and so they put the kibosh on a sequel and a Flash movie that they were considering for that universe, and then they tried again with Man of Steel, and even though Man of Steel didn't hit the way they wanted to, it was still a box office success comparatively. So like, all right, this is our cinematic universe now, woohoo, let's go. And then Zack Snyder's like, what? And they're like,
well, they already made him like fit in a bunch of Easter eggs, like the Bruce Wayne satellite and stuff. And then they were like, well, now you're actually going to include Batman in the next movie. And they're like, oh, can I have an extra year and a half to do it? Anyway, let's not rehash that too much. Let's talk about D23, John. In 24 hours, we're going to be talking about what they may have announced.
Because we did talk about this yesterday, I think. Yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yep. There's an update now.
This same article, but there's an update. So this top part, because Daniel Rickman let us know about some stuff. Daniel Rickman has shared some new details on what we can expect from D23 tomorrow, specifically what is most likely to be released to the public. According to the Scooper, we will see a new Avengers Doomsday trailer, like a full trailer, not like a mini trailer or like a featurette. It's going to be a trailer, according to Rickman, along with the first teaser for Vision Quest and a first look at Star Wars Starfighter. Speculation continues to mount that the cast of Marvel Studios' X-Men reboot will be announced during the event, but we have heard that several main roles have yet to be locked down, so they may decide to hold off. Now, that is contrary to what My Time to Shine was saying, that the full cast will be announced at Disney's D23 event this Friday, so we don't know if that's the case. However,
I don't know who to believe.
I'm more so believing Daniel RPK than My Time to Shine. I don't really believe My Time to Shine most of the time.
Look,
so
here's what I'll say.
For right now, just one more thing before you say, one more thing is I don't think they're going to have X-Men stuff. I think they're going to have everything else. I think they're going to focus on Doomsday because that's the next movie that makes the most sense, as well as anything that's recent. You know, Star Wars Sci-Fi Starfighter is going to come out next year. So there's that too.
Yeah, I mean, look, D23 takes place in an arena that can fit like 20,000 people. And D23 is an event that is obviously like all things Disney, right? D for Disney. And they're going to do Star Wars announcements. They're going to do Marvel announcements. They're going to do Pixar stuff, other Disney stuff. We're probably going to go look at Hex. Yeah, so for the haircut thing, everybody, like I was sleeping. I did get up, and so this is bed hair, but also I had to like bring in a bunch of groceries that it got delivered. And then, I just was like, I'm not going to like fix this up. I'm just going to be on the show like this for once, which is very rare, but sorry about that. I didn't hear that the Power Rangers reboot got canceled. I will look into that, Hunter, but thank you for bringing it up. I will say, though, what I'm expecting tomorrow, as far as Marvel goes, I mean, I think it's meant to be tomorrow where they do the big presentation where Kevin Feige will come out and do his thing, and then Dave Filoni potentially comes out and does a Star Wars thing. Yeah, if we get a Treasure Planet live action, would be great. I know a lot of people want more Power Rangers updates, but if that's done now, then I guess we won't be hearing that this weekend. As far as the MCU goes, here's what my expectations are based on what I've heard from all these outlets, as well as just doing research. And I don't expect the X-Men cast to be announced, like you said, John. I'm simply keeping my expectation low on that, because if I don't go in expecting X-Men, then I'm not going to be disappointed if they don't announce it. If they do announce the X-Men cast, and they do bring them out, holy shit, I'll be happy. I would expect that they will do a big announcement about Daredevil Born Again season 3. They'll probably bring out some of the cast members like they've done before. I think it was when Daredevil Born Again season 1 was about to debut, they had brought out Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox to talk about it at D23, the last D23 a couple of years ago, because it's a biannual event, so it doesn't happen every year. It's every other year. And yeah, it is at nighttime. It's West Coast time, the panel. I forget the exact hour, but basically when we go live, that would have probably finished up by then. So we will talk about everything that do mention, and then any other announcements on Saturday, Sunday, we will save for the Monday show. But I would expect them to announce, to give us some updates on Daredevil Born Again season 3, do a focus, maybe bring out the cast of the new season, all the Defenders. I would expect them to also give us a proper trailer for Vision Quest, which Daniel Rickman also said. I would expect them to basically release the Avengers Doomsday trailer we got at San Diego Comic-Con, which everybody outside of Hall H didn't get to see unless you got to see the leaked version. So we'll get that. And, oh, thank you, movie. Yeah. I mean, do you like it? Do you like Bedhead, Dan? I don't know. Anyway, what I wouldn't expect necessarily is the X-Men casting announcement. I would expect maybe they'll give us the release date, that they will say, okay, X-Men comes out May 2028, Ghost Rider July 2028. But I don't necessarily expect a casting announcement. If we get it though, that would just be the cherry on top, and that would just make it a lot better of a show tomorrow night, because then we can kind of freak out about, oh my god, they cast Storm, oh my god, Professor X. Unless it's Bill Skarsgård, then John will not be happy about it. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, I think he could do it. It's just like, I think there are way better castings for that character. And I wouldn't be pissed. I love Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah. What about John's bedhead chimera? I think John's.
I don't have bedhead because I'm bald, bitch.
The same. Yeah.
I maybe have beard head. I don't know, but whatever.
Okay. Say that again.
But moving on to, that's it for DCU MCU Daily. Now we move on to Movie Talk Madness. Because the first thing we have, although the one positive WB thing chugging along right now, is Coyote versus Acme, because we did talk about this yesterday. Their high Rotten Tomato score, they are still at a stellar 95%.
95.
By
That's
Warner
one
Brothers.
of my lucky numbers. Yeah.
And nearly disappearing for good, the Looney Tunes comedy is earning rave reviews ahead of its theatrical release, currently sitting at an impressive 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. And it will hit theaters August 28th. So, yeah, I did like, this could have been a quick hit, but like, we got to talk. It's just like, it's great. It's fucking great.
I like it, dude. 95%. Hell yeah. I can't wait to see how much this movie dunks on corporate America and Hollywood. By the way, I didn't see it earlier, but I did look it up just now. Jeff Snyder saying that Susie Bemba might be the finalist to play Storm, which would be which would be cool. I haven't seen a ton of her work.
I don't know who that is.
But I did see Homecoming that she was a part of. She was in this cliffhanger movie, Poor Things. She was in there. She's not really a very well-known actress. But Susie Bemba, I mean, she's like 26 years old. So again, like the right age group in terms of what you would expect. So yeah. How would you describe your head hair, Dan? My head hair, it's messy. That's how I describe it. You know, like the goat, it's messy. Anyway, if you know, you know. WB's bad decisions and its consequences. Good to see how Kaidi versus Acme apparently is. Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, Johnny Dome's got a new photo, Johnny. I think that's you for reals, right? This might be the only time I like Coyote. This one might be the only time I don't skip him. What are you talking about, dude? Whenever Looney Tunes was on, the Coyote part of the cartoon was like one of my favorite parts because it's so much fun. But they're kind of like changing it up a little bit, like they're so meta about this. Hello, right, dude? And then hello, you're fake. I will despise the animation community if they make this flop. They have to walk the tall. Oh, they have to walk the. Okay, I got it. Thank you for that. Yeah, we gotta you know, if you taw the taw, then you gotta walk the taw. Did you see? What did you see? What did you taw? That's yeah. I can't wait to talk. I can't wait to tea and can't wait to talk about this movie. So, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But speaking of
does it look better? Should I keep it like this? Okay, all right. If you think this looks better, I'll just stop.
You look like Clark Kent in Superman 2025, where he just has this fucking, you know, broccoli haircut.
Yeah, you know what? All right, cool.
But
good to know.
The Odyssey sets 20,000 screen China release, including near total IMAX commitment. So,
dude, I saw that they're giving it a relatively limited release date, where it's usually would be in over 60,000 screens, but it's gonna be in like 58,000, which is similar to what like China did for Oppenheimer F1. So maybe it's because I don't know, like maybe for whatever reason China doesn't want to put it out in literally every theater they possibly can, but. Oh, I see what you mean, Johnny Dome. But still, of those 58,000 screens, John, the majority of them are premium large format, or as Disney likes to call them, Infinity Vision screens and IMAX. So of those 58,000, 20,000 of them are IMAX screens. There's more IMAX screens in China than there are in the rest of the world combined. Like, that's crazy, right? Like look at that. That's 20,000 IMAX screens. China is huge. Their movie market is huge. So they're expecting it to have a pretty big debut because of that, because the majority of the screens is going to play on, even though it's not going to play on as many as it could. The most of them are, you know, going to be selling the more expensive tickets for IMAX, for Dolby Vision, for like, you know, Screen X, those kind of formats. So, yeah. Oh, I look more youthful. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. I do look more youthful with this hair. I should try this more often.
Skibbity Riz haircut that the Gen
Skibbity Riz, right. And if I like shaved this down, then I would look even younger. But anyway, I appreciate the feedback, everybody.
Drew Starkey says stays mum
Do nothing,
on
win.
potential American Psycho casting, but teases the script is amazing. I thought this was fucking canceled, but I guess not.
I didn't know it was canceled. Was it? Okay. Well,
I thought it was, but I guess not. And they're still chugging
Yeah.
along. I think it's like kind of being placed on the back burner.
Mhm.
I think because
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of they're like trying to figure it out. They're trying to find like a Patrick Bateman. Even Christian Bale said, "Fucking good luck with that, bro." But yeah, I mean, this is just one of those things I don't really trust because like I can't like the reason that the original worked so well is because you had a woman showcasing a gay man's like condemnation of like toxic masculinity, and that's why it worked. So just having another just random dude just being like, oh yeah, we'll make this work, I'm like, I don't know if you'll make it work, but it would be interesting to have it more like the book, but I can't imagine it'll
Well,
work
I mean,
that
look,
well,
you know,
but
you never know because, like you said, there's like a key idea behind why the original works that, unless if they completely miss the point, then the next movie may. I mean, look, there's more than one way to maybe solve this puzzle, but kind of like with Barbie, nobody thought they were gonna make a Barbie movie like the one that they ended up making. Like they had 5 other iterations before that were nothing like it, and you know it worked. But that Barbie movie doesn't just work because it's pink and you know oh fantastic or whatever. Like it works because the story at the core of the film is very relatable and something that you know it works for people of all ages, which is why it made like so much money. People kept going to see it, women and men. So I mean, this is obviously a very different kind of project, but I'm not gonna worry too much about it just yet because it looks like still a long ways out. So
Yeah.
yeah, whenever they do decide to go ahead with it, hopefully they have the right filmmaker who knows what they're
But
talking
speaking of casting iconic
about. Oh my god,
characters
man!
is-
I mean, come on now. I'm just gonna say this because usually you're the one who jumps ahead of the headline.
no, just I'm gonna let you have it.
Okay.
Just
All
go.
right. Thank you. Because like, here's the thing. I don't know if it was a decade. It was probably not a decade ago, but I think it must have been, circa 2022, 2023, like we were about to get the last James Bond movie, No Time to Die and stuff. And for me, I was just watching Slow Horses for the first time, and the show is now about to go into a 6th season. I still have to catch up on the 5th season, but like it's already been on air for like 4 years or 5 years. And I saw the first season of Slow Horses, and I saw this guy here, Jack Lowden, Scottish star Jack Lowden, he was known for just more like romantic movies and like British soap dramas and stuff, like kind of like a similar trajectory to Henry Cavill before he became Superman. And I was like, this guy who in I'm forgetting what's the name of the character that he plays in Slow Horses. Basically Slow Horses is about a group of MI5 agents, or MI5 agents that were kind of failing in their original jobs at MI5, and they get sent to Slough House, where this like agent Jackson Lamb, who's played by the great Sir Gary Oldman, and these cast of misfits are sent there to sort of redeem themselves. And the latest character who the show focuses on, starting up in the first season, is River Cartwright, who's played by Jack Lowden, who in the show was like somebody who just got technically set up by one of his like co-workers in a test, like a big terrorist plot test like drill that they were running, and he fails this drill, and as a result of that he's like, all right, well, and then I think something else happens in that, but basically in the pilot you see River Cartwright, who comes from a family of spies basically, so he's like a second, third generation spy, and he all of a sudden is set up and he's sent to Slough House as this supposedly failing MI5 agent. And from there, he ends up, obviously, being a lot better than we are meant to believe. And as are his colleagues, as it turns out, just people who ended up there for reasons where they're just, unfortunately ended up in situations where they came out, but with the short end of the stick. And therefore, the world kind of gave up on them, except, when they end up in Slough House, they somehow end up, being at the heart of some of the biggest, like, terrorist plots and other things that the show focuses on from season to season. So now, having seen Slow Horses, which is based on a series of books by Mickey Herron, you guys should absolutely check out the books. The show is on Apple TV. It's now going to season 6. And from that moment on, from just the first season alone, like I said, like 2022, 2021, I was like, Jack Lowden is James Bond. This man is our 007. He is I don't say this often about things because I'm like, I don't like to like, call out, I don't like the tribalism around fandom stuff like, oh, this is my Superman. I'm like, no, like, just, yeah, you love that iteration, but there'll be plenty more while you are around and after you're gone. But like, for me in this moment, I'd like to say, look, this is my James Bond, because I think Jack Lowden has been the guy for this role. He's Scottish, right? I mean, there's definitely precedence for that. The guy is also, got the look, the physique. He's clearly been auditioning for this role for as long as Slow Horses has been on our screens. So he's been doing this for a while. And you know what? The other thing is, the casting director for Slow Horses is also overseeing the casting for the new James Bond movie. So I'm just like, was this just always meant to happen? I'm like, I'm taking credit because I've been, peddling this narrative of like, and trying to advocate for Jack Lowden to become the next James Bond for so long, for years. I got like Fiona onto Slow Horses, and now she's like, oh yeah, he is James Bond basically. And yeah, I mean, he's as good as Bond. It's just, if you watch Slow Horses, you'll be like, yes, yeah, I mean, obviously, like it's not the same character. Like, you know, he's not the suave. Like he's anything but suave. Like he doesn't play exactly that. But like he's got a lot. He's able to play a lot of the characteristics of a Bond in a very meta sense of Slow Horses when they have to like go undercover and stuff. So you see that, and obviously you see the caliber of actor that he is. So yeah, I mean, look, I think Jack Lowden could be our James Bond. And recently, like, look, remember when we were actually I think we did a fan cast, like not for Fancast Friday, we did a fan cast for James Bond a while ago because it's never won the poll. But I think on a DCU Daily episode we talked about it, and when we did, I brought up that, hey, I know that it's not supposedly the age, you know, that they're looking for at Amazon MGM, but that was before they even hired a casting director. But Jack Lowden, who's kind of like, he's like 40, I think. Let me actually make sure I'm not misspeaking there. Jack Lowden is 36, so he's not even 40. He's 36. And guess what? He's married to Saoirse Ronan. I mean, what a power couple, Saoirse Ronan, since 2024. Hell yeah. And you know, so for people who worry about his height, the dude is 6'1". You know, that's the same height as John Cena. So Jack Lowden, he's got the credentials. And recently, because there's a famous British TV presenter and author, Richard Osman, like you guys mentioned yesterday, he was talking about this on one of his programs, and that's when he brought it up. And he seems pretty confident that Jack Lowden will be, you know, the next James Bond. Movie Spud talking about Spider-Man and Superman. Yeah, like, I mean, hey, Spider-Man and Superman are very relatable characters. Justin, you guys saying Amazon should hire Madame Web's writers for James Bond when I expect you to die. Bond, dying will come. I didn't even have the video loaded. When I expect you to die, Mr. Bond. Mr. Bond, dying will come. Yes. Yes.
And when you take on the responsibility, great power will come.
There you go. Thank you for the super chat. But yeah, Richard Osman claimed to have insider knowledge, talking about like the Scottish actor could be the next in line to play James Bond. And of course, that sends the internet into a frenzy. He was on The Rest is Entertainment podcast, where Richard, you know, who's, again, like I said, very famous. I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. It turns out my network crapped out because of course it did. Anyway, as I was saying, Richard Osman was talking about it, saying that Jack Lowden apparently is being strongly considered for the role. Someone told me for definite who the Bond is the other day, but I mean that's happened before. The name I've heard is Jack Lowden. It's definitely not a he's definitely got a thing. He's definitely being strongly considered. I think he'd be amazing. Lowden would be an incredible Bond. He's got real Daniel Craig energy. So yeah, I mean, hey, I like it. I like it. I like the idea of Jack Lowden being, you know, potentially the guy for the job. I think he was in Mary Queen of Scots. Let me see if I can find. I think I remember seeing him in that was that the one with Emma Stone, I think. Yeah, so he was in there, and I mean, but like, yeah, you just gotta watch Slow Horses. If you watch Slow Horses, then this guy's is the man for the job. So I'm just excited that if he does end up with the role, which again, this is still I'm just gonna say this is still early goings, and for all we know, he's probably not gonna get it. But if they do go with this, first of all, great choice, and also I like that you're getting a guy who's not really like a 20-something, because you want to have James Bond. James Bond is meant to be somebody who already did. Uh, yeah, it must be my hair, but like James Bond is a character who's usually like already been in the Navy. Like he was in the Navy, and now he's joined. What he's working as a spy for MI5. So he's not really somebody who. This isn't like the very initial beginning of his career. So you want somebody who's a little grizzled, who's got some experience, somebody who's not completely green in the field. So yeah, on that note, I think Jack Lowden would be great, because you're getting somebody who's still in their 30s. You can start off the first movie and they wouldn't be 40 by the time the movie comes out. Because imagine you're not going to take 5 years to make it like Matt Reeves. Like Denis Villeneuve will probably move quick on this once he's done with Dune Part 3 this year. And if you get like a James Bond movie in 2028, which would be fantastic, then Jack Lowden would still be pretty much like 38 years old when the movie comes out. So yeah, Jack Lowden could be the man for the job. I like him. I think he's perfect for the role. He has been perfect for a number of years now, and I highly recommend you guys go check him out. For of course Slow Horses on Apple TV. I was just like blanking for a moment there, but yeah, Slow Horses, Apple TV. It's all the way into season 6, starting out later this year. They just had a change of showrunner, but it's still based on the books. There's like a whole series of books, and yeah, it's the kind of show that makes you think like, hey, you know what? The Brits really know how to do 6-episode seasons. And the first season, I thought it was just gonna be a mini series, but then it ended up becoming something where they shoot 2 seasons back to back, and so like they're giving you 1 season every year. It's one of the best shows on Apple TV, so definitely go check it out. But yeah, moving on from that, a little bit of a TV. Well, we got a good deal of TV Talk Terror coming up. Actually, I'm skipping ahead a little bit here. The whole stream is us focused on his haircut. Yeah, you know what? Thank you. I didn't think the haircut would do this much work. For me, like, hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate the compliments. It's one of those things I could do nothing win, because like I put a lot of effort into like making my hair look the way they usually look, but I guess I didn't really need to. So that's good to know. But let me actually go to this next thing here. For some reason, it's not letting me load it up. There we go. I figured it out. All right. So the next thing, while we stick on Movie Talk Madness, before John comes back, did you guys see the trailer? There's we're getting the Anaconda movie, which apparently is a comedy this year, which I kind of like the look of that film. Lionsgate is doing another movie, which is like a similar concept, not quite Anaconda, but their new horror movie, Beware Buyona, is the best that I can say it. It debuts October 2nd. They just put out a trailer. The movie's gonna counter program Digger and Verity, so they're gonna go head to head. I'm sure they're gonna lose, because Digger and Verity have Tom Cruise and Anne Hathaway respectively. But I saw the trailer. As somebody who's not a big horror fan, definitely has some the icky elements. Like I'm like Indiana Jones. I don't do well with snakes. So like the only way I'm gonna watch an Anaconda movie is if it is like a comedy. So this, on the other hand, is very much it is very much a horror movie. I enjoyed the trailer for what it is. I'm probably not gonna go see. I'm gonna go see Digger. I mean, most people are gonna go see Digger. Maybe I'll go see Verity after that, and then maybe I'll consider it. But it's a trailer that's worth a check. If you are a fan of the genre, then it's worth checking out. And then of course, Louis Fernando doing us another solid, and well, Paramount potentially doing us a solid, depending on how good your mileage is with dog movies. But I'm somebody who's famously like not a big fan of dog movies, because they kind of all do the same thing. But I watched, Snakes on a Plane. I mean, dude, it's like Snakes on a Plane is a tough watch for me. Like it's there's elements of the movie that are great, but then I'm like, no, like it's just, I don't like the feeling. Dude, I am the person who's then gonna be looking around their shoulder randomly, because I'm like, oh shit, what was that sound? Put my feet up off the ground. Like, that's me. Yeah, infamously maybe is the better way to say it. So Buana. Okay, got it. That's how you say it. Thank you, Chimera. So it is pronounced Beware Buana, kind of like Moana, but like Buana. All right. Well, but then I was talking about, Heart of the Beast. Heart of the Beast is like the next big dog movie. It's got Brad Pitt in it, as you can see there. They introduce a new doggy. The doggy is so cute. I love the dog. And it looks like they use the real dog for the most part. Outside of a few sequences, you could clearly tell it's CGI. The CGI is pretty decent. It's directed by David Ayer, so it's the perfect kind of David Ayer movie, a survival thriller about a former military dog and a military man, that, who says like, all right, this dog has seen so much. It's now time for this dog to go home and live a quiet life, which is like, okay, and normal people talk like that. But my least favorite snake is an anaconda, because they will fucking eat you and keep you in their stomach as the acids inside their bodies dissolve your body, and they will eat you alive, motherfucker. Like, that's why I don't like it. Or they will squeeze you to death and then eat you and then digest you while literally you're just in their body whole. So, but yeah, every year needs a trashy dog movie. I mean, this is not really a trashy dog. Here's the thing. I don't like dog movies, but I watched this trailer and I was like, oh my god, I kind of want to watch this now. It looks fun. Oh, you were joking. Okay, so maybe it's not Buana. Anyway, well, thank you for playing. But Heart of the Beast looks like an okay, fun movie. It's a Paramount film. I mean, they need movies to like add up to their quota that they have been saying. I mean, this is a movie. It's coming out September 25th. It's gonna go head to head with The Forgotten Island and Avengers Endgame re-release. I have a feeling that Avengers Endgame re-release might make like a shit ton of money because they have like an extra 7 minutes of footage, and people know that it's gonna tie into Avengers Doomsday. There's a new end credit scene, a post credit scene. So yeah, there's all that. Thank you again for the thank you for the compliment about my hair. I really appreciate it, guys. You're really pumping me up right now. Say that again. Anyway, Anaconda or Komodo dragon? No, we're not. You know what? I don't like snakes. No follow-up questions. Okay, no comment. Like, I'm done. I already mentioned, like, no. I might watch Anaconda in theaters because it looks like a good comedy film. Paul Rudd, Jack Black, but I don't. I'm like Indiana Jones, man. Like, again, don't do well with snakes. Will I talk about the WGA crossing the picket line?
Why'd it have to be snakes?
Although I will say, the snake movie does look good. By the way, I know I probably missed that, but it looks good. I'd watch that.
Yeah,
more than the fucking shitty ass.
I thought it was interesting.
Movie.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I thought it was pretty interesting. Again, for somebody who's not really a fan of snakes movies, it looks good. What about the writers crossing the picket line? Like, recently, I don't think that's been a thing. Like, are you talking about like the 2023 strikes? Because I know somebody just commented, yeah, I don't know, you're fake, like, crossing what picket line? I didn't see anything about that today. But anyway, I thought this looked good, John. Beware. So somebody said it's pronounced Buona.
Buona? It might be. I don't know, but it looks good.
There's so many vowels there, But anyway, Heart of the Beast, I was saying, looks kind of fun, despite me infamously
generic
dog
just
films.
like most of modern David Ayer.
It's a David Ayer movie, Yeah. Oh, the DGA and IATSE urged Rob Bonta to settle with Paramount. Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't got it on today's show. I'll bring it in tomorrow. We'll talk about it in a bit more detail. But yeah, the DGA and IATSE, which are two huge unions, kind of siding with Paramount. I think this whole case dragging out, the reason why some parts of Hollywood are worried is because the longer it drags out, the more it causes problems like Barbie 2 potentially not happening, these other things. So it is disruptive to the short-term future of Hollywood and people who are working in Hollywood. I think they should still go through with the trial and try to block this, because if you settle, that means the merger is going to happen. You just try to like get some concessions from Paramount. I think Hollywood needs to take the short-term pain for the long-term gain here, but it's easier said than done when your job is not on the line. So I understand from the DG and IATSE's perspective that and then some of the theater owners are also urging that you settle with Paramount and whatever that involves. But I have a feeling they're going to probably have settlement talks. But I given how far apart the attorney generals and Paramount are right now and what they want out of all this, I don't think they're going to ultimately end up with an agreement. So unless things change, which it depends on what Paramount's willing to give up. So I don't know, John. What's your best horror movie?
I
of
mean,
2026? Was
technically
it
by default,
Hokum,
Obsession
Insidious,
is the best
Obsession?
horror movie of 2026. Hokum, I thought was great. I thought Backrooms
Yeah.
was great. Passenger sucked. Psycho Killer was mid. Um, I don't know if there's any. Well, Evil Dead Burn was good but disappointing. But yeah, by default it is. However, if you have not seen it, I say wait until the hype dies down, because I feel like with how the hype is right now, it might kill the movie for you. I would know if I didn't see Obsession, and until like now, I would wait, because overhype fucking kills.
I never let
movies
the
for
hype
me,
kill it
so.
for me.
I'm
not one of those people who worries about that too much. But I mean, Pinocchio Unstrung, that's another one. So it's apparently pronounced Boyuna. So beware Boyuna. Wow, mythical giant black snake from Amazonian folk. Okay, you know what? We're moving on. No more snake talk. Caleb saying, I'm shocked Air. Dude, you fucking changed your profile photo. I'm not putting your shit on screen anymore. Caleb was saying, I'm shocked Ayer still gets work. Bro makes the most unassuming films that no one cares about. Dude, David Ayer is making Beekeeper and Beekeeper 2, right? So that's why David Ayer is still getting work, because he makes fantastic Jason Statham movies. I do hope Clayface is good too.
I do hope Clayface.
Ruining one's experience with hype is needless. Let Ultra comment. It is, but like for me, I'm not somebody like figure drawing. I don't care too much about like if the hype is so high. I'm like, because I don't. Here's the thing, like. I know what I like. I know what I tend to like, but I'm also willing to like watch something even if I don't think I'm gonna like it and give it a chance. And sometimes it works with wonders, sometimes it doesn't. And you're like, all right, well, I guess I gave it a shot. It really wasn't my thing. But I'm not somebody who's like, oh my god, just because everybody's talking about Spider-Man, I'm not gonna go see it. Like I went to see it. I mean, John saw it already. Well, John, you're somebody who gets affected. Who's like, if somebody's so over the top hyped. I mean, like, because it doesn't affect my open-mindedness.
I don't mind hype.
I
mind overhype, because when everyone is telling you this is the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread, then when I see it, and I don't think it's that case, whether the hype is affecting me or not, then people are gonna be like, "Oh, what the fuck is wrong with you? You have no fucking taste, bro." Because that's exactly what happened with, for instance, my sister. She
that's people.
She was permanently put off from watching Breaking Bad because her roommate was being a dickhead about it. Because she was like, "Oh, you have no taste if you don't fucking watch this show." And I'm like, "Go fuck yourself."
I understand that. Yeah,
that's like a
fair.
dickhead thing.
I suppose that's fair.
Plus I will say, not seeing something out of spite does kind of fuel me. Like initially it was RRR. All my friends said it was like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I'm like, cool, I'm not gonna see it now just out of spite. And then K-pop Demon Hunters, my friend, he was like, you should watch him. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll see it. It's not my thing, but like if you like it. And I was watching other stuff at the time. I was busy, with this and my own videos. And then he was like, well, if you haven't seen it already, you're a fucking dumbass. And I'm like, cool, I'm never gonna watch it now because you insulted me. So fuck you.
I still would make the argument that like you should be secure enough in yourself and your opinions to not like worry about if somebody's trying to force their opinion onto you to let it affect your ability to go watch something that you might otherwise be excited to go see. But I understand what you're talking about, and I get a lot of people like end up in those situations because it just at that point you're not spiting the movie or the TV show, you're spiting the person who's trying to like lay it on thick with you. And I mean, RRR for example, great movie. I love the film. I've seen it a dozen times, literally, and I will say, while it is one of the standout movies that come out of India in the last 10 or so years, it's not the best thing ever, but it is really good. Caleb loves not watching things out of spite. It feels good to stay out of those discourses. Well, there you go, Caleb. Like, it's okay if you want to be, the cool contrarian. We used to have somebody on the show that went by the name Cool Contrarian.
Caleb, you should change your username to the Cool Contrarian. That's definitely seems like
I should have copyrighted that shit. Yeah, that should have been copyrighted. Like that was like the thing on the show. Andrew used to be the Cool Contrarian. He was. We were like, we would blame him for being like, you are so snobby and stuck up and everything. Anyway, we played it up. John, screw everyone else. Stick to your IRL friends, trusted friends. Exactly. I think that's good advice.
No,
I'm
not
familiar with him, but by the looks, I could see him as Bond.
Don't bow into peer pressure,
Are you watching?
folks.
I think Movie Spud is watching a little behind. Like he's behind on time because he's still. We were talking about We were talking about Jack Lowden like 10 minutes ago. But yes, I would love to see him as Bond. Now, since you guys did bring it up,
I haven't seen him in anything, so I can't judge.
Dude,
but I
you need
trust
to watch.
You, Dan.
You need to watch.
Now,
Slow Horses.
I will say, Slow Horses is on the list. That's something I'm not
Yes.
seeing out of spite. I do plan to see it eventually,
Yeah.
but I just have a long list of shit to watch.
That's true, but I'm just saying, like, when you see it, you're gonna see what I mean by like this guy could be James Bond. So definitely. I hate it when I'm unwittingly behind chat. I know. Figured movie spud will catch up. Don't worry. It's okay if you're behind. But since you guys brought it up, you just remember you guys brought this upon yourself. So I'm just gonna mention this because there was a report in Deadline, so that we don't have to worry about talking. Well, so we can talk about it now, so we don't have to talk about it tomorrow. The DGI and IATSE, which like are two of the biggest unions, obviously the directors, and then IATSE covers like a lot of different disciplines across Hollywood. So a lot of below the line workers on movie and TV productions. They urged Paramount, to fast track the Paramount Warner Brothers merger standoff for fears that prolonged court battles will hurt jobs, which is exactly what I was saying 5 minutes ago. So basically, they're pushing the attorney generals to kind of settle this and try to fast track this and not wait it out until the trial date in March. I'm not a contrarian. I'm the goddamn king of. Okay, all right, cool, Caleb. That sounds like a thing an 18-year-old would say. Anyway, two of Hollywood's most powerful unions have a message for California Attorney General Rob Bonta and Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison. Work it out ASAP, whether in the court or otherwise. The DG and IATSE sent a joint letter to the pair on Wednesday to raise concerns about the potential for a prolonged timetable for the litigation and to encourage them to make nice after their legal standoff over the proposed merger with Warner Brothers Discovery that has Ellison threatening to pull his studio out of the state completely. I think here, like, this is where I understand the thing about like jobs and whatnot. But like I just said 5 minutes ago, like I feel like I'm repeating myself because I am, but like you got to take the pain. Like you can't like, okay, so David Ellison threatens to leave California. I'm like you got to take the pain. I'm just gonna go back and quote The Dark Knight. You know, what would you have me do, Alfred? It's like take it because you know Batman can take it. It's like because Batman can do things that other what was that something like that other people can't take it.
I don't know. Dark Knight's your fucking favorite movie of all time. Why don't you fucking finish the quote, man?
But it's what Alfred
you're
said.
The
Somebody
Nolan
in the
Dick
chat will
writer,
tell
hero.
me.
You get the quote right.
Here, okay, I found the quote. It says, it's from obviously the great Sir Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
But like that whole conversation is like the core of that movie, but it makes sense here because it kind of is. It's like endure, Master Wayne, take it. They'll hate you for it, but that's the point of Batman. He can be the outcast. He can make the choice that no one else can make, the right choice. Yeah, and I mean ultimately Batman, like, well, in the moment Bruce Wayne kind of like says, well, today I found out what Batman can't do. He can't endure this. Today you get to say I told you so. And then Alfred said, today I don't want to, but I did bloody tell you. So yeah, obviously and ultimately, like, in the movie, I guess the Attorney General Harvey Dent ends up saying, oh, I'm Batman. So I'm not drawing, the analogy only takes you so far, but and I'm not implying that Rob Bonta is Bruce Wayne or Batman, but yeah, this is the true Osa Curious experience. But what I'm trying to say is the directors and IATSE like getting a little like shaky because all of a sudden, this thing might drag out a little bit. And I don't think David Ellison's going to follow through on his threat to leave California. Here's the thing. You can't take the Warner Brothers lot and sell it and move it out of California if the merger ultimately doesn't go through. And it's not as simple as like, oh, we're moving out of California and you just like dig everything out of the ground, fly it to the other state and just plop it down there. It's very complicated. So yes, while it is a threat that's worth taking into account, I think you got to like take the pain for a little bit. Now, these two unions, they represent nearly 200,000 film and TV workers across US and Canada. They want this to be sorted out sooner so that, we don't get to the March trial date. I get it. There's a bit of pressure for that. I'm still of the view that they should just stick this out because part of why this might work to actually block the deal is because it's going to, run out the clock on Paramount. And if they could do that, then that to me is like one way to stop this. Otherwise, whatever settlement they do means the merger goes through. And I don't know what you know, how much Paramount is willing to give up to make this happen, and how much of that, you know, Rob Bonta and the attorney generals will, you know, will actually, you know, be willing to take, because ultimately they'll have to pretty much walk back almost everything they said to file this case and this antitrust lawsuit to like take a settlement. Right now in California, production is down 40%. They talk about it here, and it's a big problem. LA is a ghost town in a lot of ways that it used to not be, but that has to do more with the fact that UK and a lot of other parts of the US even, and other countries, they have much better production tax incentives. Like they're, you know, Marvel's moved all of their stuff to the UK. Warner Brothers does most of their stuff in the UK. Like Spider-Man movies almost shoot entirely in the UK now, whether it's Liverpool, you know, Glasgow, the studios that they have in London, Harry Potter, like it's all that stuff. I mean, Harry Potter always shot it in the UK, so that's less so an issue. But California and the US, the federal tax credit needs, you know, or there needs to be a federal tax credit, which David Ellison does support. And especially California, their revamped tax credit is better, but it's still not nearly good enough. So like I get it, like in this joint letter they were saying, as our members struggle to find employment, the uncertainty surrounding the proposed merger is only making matters worse. We are aware of productions that have been put on hold or canceled altogether, leading to further reductions in available work for our members and the other industry workers. And I get that. I get it. But I think that here you gotta like, you know, stick to your guns. Like you have to stick to your guns. Now in this letter, they did include a list of proposed enforceable conditions that could allow the merger to continue without detrimental effects on the competitive market, basically saying, if you can get Paramount to agree to do these things and hold them accountable to it, then the merger could work for us, like the unions. So they said they want the Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery Motion Picture Studios to be kept completely separate, with each studio maintaining their own production, distribution, marketing, exhibition groups as distinct divisions. That's a hard one to swallow, because part of some of the cost efficiencies they'll try to achieve is by, you know, making sure that they can merge the distribution marketing arms, because you don't need two of them. Like Disney did that with the Fox assets. So that would be very expensive for them, and then they wouldn't necessarily be able to like achieve the, you know, the cost savings that they've said like $6 billion. So for Paramount, this would be hard to do, but maybe if they agree to it, why not? Production distribution by each motion picture studio of a minimum of 15 theatrical films per year, with an exclusive theatrical window at least 45 days, preferably 60 or more, before PVOD exploitation, and 120 days before SVOD, meaning like, you know, Netflix streaming and stuff. That's something I think David Ellison already says he wants to do, so I'm sure he'll be fine with that. An agreement that Warner Brothers and Paramount will continue to license theatrical films from third parties at no less than the average percentage of films licensed from third parties over the past 5 years, excluding 2020 and 2023. I think that one is very hard to enforce, and that's probably likely not going to be something that either party wants to agree, because that's a very loosey-goosey definition. And you could make business arguments for why, you know, those numbers might fluctuate over the years, even if the two studios don't merge. The same separate operational structure for Paramount and Warner Brothers Television Studios as applied to the motion picture studios. I think David Ellison sort of implied they're going to want to try to do that anyway. But this would mean that, you know, you can't change their mind down the road on this stuff. So sure, I mean, I guess that could work. The maintenance of HBO as a linear pay television channel that will continue to be available on third-party platforms like Amazon Video and like Comcast and stuff. Sure. But you can make the argument that down the road, HBO might not be a linear channel anymore because nobody watches cable and cable dies. So again, that one probably is not as enforceable over time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if they were going to shut down HBO, like the channel anyway, so cool. A commitment to produce films and television shows in the United States and no less than the average percentage produced in the United States during the last 5 years, excluding 2020, 2023, of course, pandemic strikes. Again, no less than the average percentage. There's ways to get around that. Like, these are great things, theoretically speaking, but I don't see how like you can make a legal agreement that you can't really, like, you can get around this stuff very easily, right? You can just all of a sudden start making documentaries that are way cheaper to make than, like, you know, motion pictures, like the scripted, like Batman, Star Wars, stuff like that, and to like make up the average percentage quota. So and TV side as well. So I mean, yeah, sure, that still means people will get employed, but a documentary employs a lot fewer people than a big motion picture, you know, where you're making a movie with a script and whatnot. So that's why I think I don't know how enforceable that is and how much of a difference that's going to make. These are labor-centric arguments, but again, from a business standpoint, you can easily find your loopholes around it. You'd have to make the language so airtight in the documents that it would be something that Paramount probably would be very uncomfortable with agreeing to anyway, or any business in their position. A commitment to license original content on the combined entities' linear channels and streaming platforms from third parties at no less than the average percentage, blah, 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 5 years, no 2020, no 2023. So basically, they want to still have Paramount, Warner Brothers commit to still licensing their shows that they produce to other outlets. Like, for example, Ted Lasso is made by Warner Brothers for Apple. There's a bunch of stuff Warner Brothers Television does for Netflix. Paramount makes shows for other platforms. Skydance makes a bunch of shows for Apple. So I think that's something that David Ellison already said they were going to do. So this would just make it more like in writing. So again, not that much of a reach for what they were already committed to. A commitment from Paramount or a commitment that Paramount and Warner Brothers will continue to be sellers in the marketplace, and a commitment that Paramount will continue to be based in LA. The threat is only there to like create this kind of stuff. So I don't think the commitment to stay in LA is going to be a problem. Paramount is like the oldest studio in Hollywood, or I think the second oldest after Universal, and they've been in Hollywood for over 100 years. They're not leaving anytime soon. Hello, M2G. This threat is fairly empty in the sense that they only follow through on it at their own expense, partly because it's going to be expensive to move all your operations to a different state at a time when you're already committed to like spend this much money to buy another studio. So yeah, I mean, that one's pretty empty there. And then we'll continue to be sellers in the marketplace. David Ellison already said they're going to still make movies that, you know, for other outlets and TV shows. You've talked about this. So again, I appreciate the sentiment here, and I don't know how much of this is lip service from the DJ and IATSE for their members, because they want to be, you know, looking at how they want to come out with the impression that they're there to support their unions, and they care for the people that are part of their unions, who, you know, and so yeah, this is cool. I get it. I get where they're coming from, but honestly, I'm being a bit pessimistic but also realistic. A lot of that language, a lot of those commitments, Rob Bonta already said it, it's very hard to enforce those things, like behavioral remedies. I think structural remedies is what he called it, what he wants. So that's more likely to be like sell off parts of your company, and so that way, you know, you're not even in a situation where you can dominate as a monopoly. So whether that means setting off, you know, CNN and other things, or whatever else they might want to do. So yeah, I mean, David Ellison and Rob Bonta have a lot of talking to do, but we'll see. I'm open to them like having a conversation, and if they can find some settlement of some kind that makes a meaningful difference, sure. But what the DG and IATSE are asking for here, I don't think for the most part is going to be something that Rob Bonta and the attorney generals will be satisfied with. It's not something that's very easy to enforce a lot of those commitments, and there's very, you know, unless the language is super airtight, even then, like, you can easily get around some of those like quotas that they would be agreeing to. So yeah, but hey, you know what, the beat goes on, as Randy Savage would once upon a time say. And on that note, we move on to TV Talk Terror. That was, by the way, you guys said that you wanted to talk about that. I did not have that in the rundown. I didn't even send that to John.
It's all on you, motherfuckers.
So
I had to put up with this shit too, by the way. Just fucking saying. Anyway, now on to bigger and better things. We've known this for a while, where Henry Cavill's been trying to get a Warhammer 40K show off the ground. But with this, the interesting part that we didn't know is that it's actually going to be animated. So we didn't know that. We thought it was going to be a live action series, but it looks like it's going to be animated, and it is going to be at Prime Video. So he is producing it, and I believe recently Mike Flanagan said he's writing it. We don't know if there's a showrunner or anything like that. We just know that Henry Cavill's producing it and probably starring in it as well. So this is definitely a big thing, because we didn't know it was going to be animated.
Yeah, no, I think it's a, like, here's the thing. Despite all the stuff over time where Henry Cavill's been trying to get this off the ground for, I don't know, like years now, I'm not surprised that Amazon is taking a very like we will dip our toes and take a real slow approach to this franchise, because Warhammer is one of those things where it's got a passionate following, and you got to put a shit ton of money into it if you're going to do it live action. So I am not surprised at all that they're starting with animation and seeing what kind of traction it gets. And if it does really well, then I'm sure Henry Cavill would be happy to be part of something live action. And this is a good place to go.
Yeah.
This is a good place to go. And it's a branching off of a secret level episode. So it's tying into, this is going to be made for the core hardcore fan base of Warhammer. And maybe this is a way to say, oh, look, everybody, Amazon Prime is your place for more Warhammer stuff down the road. So here's something for you guys. Tell us how you like it. And then maybe they can use that as an argument to be like, now we can do a live action iteration. So good. I mean, usually Hollywood dives in head first and either, gets their head bashed in, or it has a lot of success. But, that's the gamble of Hollywood. But obviously Amazon, not really willing to take that gamble just yet with Warhammer. But yeah, good stuff. I mean, I like it. I like this. I personally would wish they did do a big budget TV show on this already, but I'm willing to start wherever we start. So
yeah.
Okay, Harold. Yes, DC Daily will be good tonight.
Ted Lasso season 4 opens with 296.6 million minutes watched in 2 days. Apple TV's biggest launch ever. So
yeah, in its first day alone, it had over 200 million minutes watched. It was ridiculous. I mean, this. I understand it's been 3 years since the last season 3 came out, and then this is sort of like a semi-soft reboot. Not necessarily. It's kind of hard to say that it's a reboot because it's the same characters continuing the same story, but it goes in a very different direction now. Ted Lasso's coaching the women's team, which play in the second division. So it's not like the same. I mean, they do have a lot of same actors like Hannah Waddingham and obviously, Coach Lasso himself, Jason Sudeikis, they're all back. I haven't watched it yet because I'm still finishing season 3. I was kind of slow on that, but season 3 has been fantastic, and so I'm not gonna, spoil myself. So, and I'm glad the trailers they put out.
Nice. I don't know if this is me or him, but nice. Dan's haircut strikes again. Allison got to Dan. Yeah, it seems like it. We'll see if he comes back, but I don't think he is. I think he might be. Yep, there he goes. Anyway, so Ted Lasso season 4 doing very well. Very happy. Although I guess positively, Jack Lowden is going to be the next James Bond. I guess negatively, what Will Smith, not that Will Smith, different Will Smith, who was showrunning Slow Horses, apparently has exited the series, and what it could mean for season 6 as the acclaimed series returns September 16th. Executive producer Doug Urbanski explains how Gabby Chiappe stepped in while the new season combines 2 Mick Herron novels and what comes next. Slow Horses, Apple TV's ride cult spy series, isn't planning on slowing down anytime soon. The show starring Gary Oldman as the crotchety and flatulent Jackson Lamb, Jack Lowden as River Cartwright, and Kristen Scott Thomas as MI5 director. Diana Taverner hit a bit of a snag at the end of its most recent 5th season, that when lead writer and executive producer Will Smith walked away from the show for other pursuits. While Slow Horses, which films in Britain, doesn't operate with a traditional showrunner, Smith served as the de facto captain at the helm. His departure raised some questions about the future of the slow burn series. However, executive producer Doug Urbanski says the production, in part because there isn't a lone showrunner, had built up a creative foundation that meant if they couldn't figure out the best way forward, they would all resign. Will leaving really meant that we had to solve it, and I think we did, as you will see with season 6 about the premiere. Some people have seen already and have said they think it's the best season yet. Now we've heard that season after season, but it is very good. So yeah, it seems like it's showing the people. Yeah, he was Oh God, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I knew Caleb was gonna go something with that. Oh, don't tell Dan that. This is like this For All Mankind and Foundation are like his bread and butter. Don't fuck with slow horses when it comes to Dan. But so any slow horses fans, don't worry. The show is on track, doing good things. No need to worry. So that's good. Now we have a couple trailers to get into. First being Mobland, speaking of controversy, although it seems like the controversy has lulled in regards to Mobland. Um, and he apparently we got a season 2 trailer. Tom Hardy tries to fix a gang civil war in the Paramount Plus show. It returns on September 18th, and with all of this, season 2 of the crime drama sees the North London crime family, the Harrigans, threatened by a civil war. Harry D'Souza, the crew's loyal fixer, seems like the only person who can keep the family together, part of the logline as violence spills into every corner of their lives. Loyalty snaps, safety proves temporary, and the battle for power leaves no room for mercy. So, yeah, it seems like it's just one of those cases where it's going to be bigger and better, and with all of that, yeah, I mean, most people did, but it seems like everything is okay now because um funny. But yeah, I think that's been squashed. The future's probably going to be good. It said they're working with Tom Hardy to make sure everything is good, but it seems like the controversy is pretty much gone now. So, isn't it just gang war, not gang civil war? I don't fucking know. I don't watch the show. But next up, then we got Chad Powers. Glenn Powell's Russ Holiday struggles to keep up the ruse on his college football playoff run in season 2 trailer. The South Georgia Catfish still have a playoff to make. That is, if their star player can keep up the ruse on his real identity for that long. The walls are closing in on Russ Holiday in season 2 of Chad Powers, as evidenced by the trailer Hulu released Thursday. Now that Ricky has figured out the disgraced former Oregon quarterback has been donning prosthetics and pretending to be a college student again to lead the Catfish to a national championship. It's only a matter of time before other people find out too. After all, Russ is not a very good liar, and pretty much everything about the persona he's created as Chad Powers raises eyebrows. I might be in over my head, he meekly admits to Ricky at one point in the trailer, which is embedded above. It premieres on September 3rd, so if you guys are really hankering for more Chad Powers, then you do have this the trailer to watch, and it'll come in a few short weeks. So very nice. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Chad Powers is the best. I like the fact that it's the Catfish, that's I have no idea what you guys are talking about, not gonna lie. I have no idea what you mean by that. Do y'all feel the powers of Chad Powers? Sure. Maybe. I don't know. But that's it for TV Talk Terror. Now we're going to move on to something quicker, and that is indeed the quick hits. So let's get into this first. All right. Quick hit. Apparently, Matthew McConaughey was seriously considered playing Joel in HBO's The Last of Us, but turned down the series because it wasn't for me at the time. I wasn't really acting at that point. That was when I was doing more writing and looking at leadership roles in life. It was really good. I was excited. Honestly, it could have been an interesting show with him at the helm, but since people pretty much really love Pedro Pascal in the role, I think that was a pretty good way that was a good casting decision. And may this Robert Pattinson poster trend continue. We've got the one for primetime, which is like him in silhouette, and then the Batman Part 2 also kind of sort of in silhouette with just a solid color background. One is red in the rain, the other is like a blue TV screen, so cool. Next up, Paramount Primal picks up action fantasy tower defense from Snow White and the Huntsman Scribe. It's the latest project acquired by the studio's new fast-moving genre label. And with that, I actually liked Snow White and the Huntsman. Decent movie, not the greatest thing ever, but I enjoyed it. And it's been described as a medieval fantasy version of Assault on Precinct 13, which I'm very curious about, and I think that could be really interesting. You know how this looks, right? We're gonna take a seat down these croakers. But yeah. I was hoping Dan was here to talk about this, but from Snooki to Spielberg, how New Jersey reinvented itself into Hollywood's hottest production hub, probably because of good tax rebates, and it's insanely cheap to film there. So I would imagine that that's probably why it's becoming a new hotspot. So good for New Jersey, I guess. One of the few good things that New Jersey can do right, because it barely can. It does. But next up, speaking of Assault on Precinct 13, John Carpenter. In addition to Coleman Domingo and Charlize Theron, they are going to be honored at the Academy Museum Gala. Theron will be honored with the Icon Award, Carpenter will receive the Luminary Award, and Domingo will be presented with the Vantage Award. The Icon Award goes to an artist whose career has had a significant global impact. Sorry. The Luminary Award presented to Carpenter is given to an artist whose singular contributions have expanded the creative possibilities of filmmaking. Damn fucking right. The Vantage Award presented to Domingo honors an artist who is helping to challenge dominant narratives around cinema. So this is cool. Yeah, it might be a little bit of a Hollywood circle jerk, but the fact that Carpenter, John fucking Carpenter of all people, is getting like recognized by the Academy of Hollywood, that's saying something, because the Hollywood and the Academy could not give less of a flying fuck about John Carpenter. So the fact that they're honoring him in some way shows that maybe they're trying to turn their lives around, because he is deserving of every award that he should have gotten many years ago. But Daddy Carpenter, yes. Slow Horses is great. Slow Horses is a show. Both of you can be correct. But next up, Heat of Rivalry Season 2 casts Emily Hampshire, Edvin riding. He's not going to be the only thing that's riding something. Ayo! Robert Naylor, Sabrina Jalise, and Priyanka. Not Priyanka Chopra Jones, just Priyanka. Cool. I know Emily Hampshire. I watched Schitt's Creek. Good show. I don't know any of these other people. Good luck. Amy Sedaris joins Ben Stiller, Benicio del Toro in Apple TV comedy Protective Custody. The logline for the show states that it will follow a disgraced financier, Stiller, accused of massive fraud, who is thrown into protective custody, where he must navigate prison politics, salvage his reputation, and confront the consequences of his actions while awaiting trial. Could be interesting, and if it's coming from Apple TV, it's probably going to be a banger. Amelia Jones to star in Netflix series adaptation of the Retrievals podcast. The series, which is based on the New York Times and Serial Productions podcast in the same name, was originally announced in May, follows an unlikely community of IVF patients who come together to crusade against Yale University after they are operated on without anesthesia because a nurse stole their fentanyl. Interesting. Definitely something. I do like Amelia Jones, very good actress, very underrated actress. So yeah, who doesn't love Ben Stiller? Come on, hell yeah. But
wow,
do you like Caleb's new profile picture?
Imitation is the best form of flattery. That's what I'll say. So thank you.
But remember, identity theft is.
I mean, you must not like your. Millions of people are affected by it every day. But I will say Caleb must not like himself enough to put his actual photo on his profile photo, so he uses mine. Thank you, Caleb. I will be your friendly identity theft person. I will gladly.
But Netflix FTX series The Altruist sets November release date, drops first look photos. Cool, I guess. The story of Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison, two hyper-smart, ambitious young idealists who tried to remake the global financial system in the blink of an eye before they were accused of stealing $8 billion and became Gen Z's own Bonnie and Clyde. I've literally never heard of those two people in my entire fucking life, but I wish this series the best, I guess.
But I hate FTX, and so I'll just hate watch this. But yeah,
I don't even know what FTX fucking is.
Remember FTX was, Sam you don't know Sam Bankman-Fried, the guy who like defrauded people for millions?
Wait,
Dude,
was
you
that the
missed
guy
him,
with the
because,
Jew fro? He eventually went to prison.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I know
Yes.
him. Yeah. Okay.
That's what it is. Yes. Yeah, FTX was like was it a crypto? What was it?
I think it was crypto.
Am I thinking?
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, it was a cryptocurrency exchange, and it turned out that the guy was defrauding billions of dollars. I think it was like $8 billion went missing. So yeah.
Went missing.
Anyway.
Only Murders in the Building expands its collection of Doctor Who starts, adds Peter Capaldi to season 6 cast, and I had to put that in there. In addition to Jodie Whittaker and David Tennant, who are also part of the show. Come on, guys! House of the Dragon's taking a break. Get Matt Smith in there. Come on, let's go. Let's get them all. Chris Ferguson's probably like, get the fuck out of my face. What are you asking me for? Get out of here. But this is pretty awesome. Lovely to see. I don't watch the show, but maybe for Doctor Who fans, this is quite a bit of fun. So, yeah. Next up, watch we got Dear You coming out soon. Well, the trailer at least is coming out soon, and then eventually, unveils it's gonna have a release date soon. But China's $300 million sleeper hit, Dear You, unveils U.S. trailer ahead of September release. That's coming out, I believe, today, and it's going to be in select North American theaters on September 4th, courtesy of specialty label Well Go USA. So if you want to view that, you can. But this could be interesting. I don't know if it's for me. But
this was like it's like China's equivalent of not exactly in the content of the movie, but like Obsession, where like they made it for $2 million, made it $300 million. It's not like a big studio picture. So
right,
yeah,
it's just an indie hit
like,
that fucking hit the right notes and just went off.
Exactly,
allegedly.
Yeah,
because we can't really count.
Well, I mean, okay, sure, but I'm willing to bet that this is going to be a good movie. Maybe they can submit this as like the Chinese submission to the Oscars too. So, let's see.
Maybe.
Can't wait.
But speaking of good things, I don't know. X-Files creator Chris Carter says he's pretty sure Mulder and Scully are in the Ryan Coogler reboot. Which, I mean, here's the thing. It's going to be from Ryan Coogler. It's going to be fucking peak no matter what. So if they're in there, great. If they're not, I'm not going to cry about it. So,
So
I think
basically, he was saying he's pretty sure. Right. I mean, he's saying like Scully, he's pretty sure is going to be there. Yeah, exactly. The salt and pepper look. I always wanted to believe, Caleb. I've been believing longer than you've been alive. So yeah, but. I mean, I can't wait because obviously people are wondering if this is like a true reboot, but this is not. It looks like a true reboot because Mulder and Scully do exist. So I'm guessing this is like an in-universe follow-up. So
continuation.
Like,
I'm just curious where it's going to leave off because I know the last 2 seasons, which were season 10 and 11, were very iffy to some
there was
people.
Like the whole like world-ending, changing events happen in the second of those seasons, and it's like there's a lot of shit. Apparently. I was like, I'm pretty sure Scully's too old to have a baby, but like, or an alien baby. Anyway, like, I thought
but Gillian Anderson can get it, so it's fine.
I'm sure, hey, but anyway, I think the smoking man finally died. I mean, the real actor would look like
okay, I was gonna say, like, they literally blew him up in, like, the series finale so that he wouldn't come back, and then they brought the fucker back
Somehow he returned.
Yeah.
Somehow he returned.
It was like in the book The Lost World, because Ian Malcolm and the main guy who started the park, both of them died in the book. But then since they were alive at the end of the movie, Michael Crichton brought them back into the book universe, and they're like, how are you alive? You got devoured by dinosaurs. He's like, the doctors did great work. And that was like literally it. And it's just like, bro, come on now. Michael Crichton, you're better than that. And it's so funny because then Steven Spielberg didn't even fucking use the book for the movie anyway. So it's just like, all right, okay, then what was the point of that? Michael Crichton just made a shitty book for no reason. Anywho, but X-Men star Tyler Mane shares positive update following cancer diagnosis. I'm on the road to recovery. I did see him. I didn't go up to him, but I did see him at Terrificon, and he looked good. He looked very good. Like, he didn't look like bad, really. I mean, he looked his age. He looked okay, and he was like, talking with a lot of fans. He was standing up for long periods of time, so he looks good. So that was really nice to see. So, yeah.
I mean, look, I can't imagine like how much that takes out of you. Like, cancer can literally kill you like a death by 1,000 cuts, especially because like the treatment is so intensive. but I'm glad that he's in, on a road to recovery. Like, this is great news, fantastic news. I hope that he's back and, making an appearance in Secret Wars, like he was in Deadpool and Wolverine. Bring him back another time, So yeah, really happy for him.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Now the tide shall turn to But until that point, let's thank
for the
people
better,
for
for
watching.
the worse.
Well, I can
Yes.
tell you this: we're not
Okay.
hashtag fucking blessed, even though that's what James Gunn's saying. But thanks for watching this side of the show. We're gonna
I
go
don't
into
know,
DCU Daily, and let's put on our Blue Lantern rings and be hopeful, because DC is not blessed right now.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Honka honka!
Oh boy, ladies and gents, here we are discussing DC, and at this point, it's just a very, very big humiliation ritual for us, because DC fans just can't catch a break. But, we persevere, we hope. But it's very hard to be hopeful. Isn't that right, Dan?
Yeah, we persevere. I saw the first 5 minutes of the Lanterns episode 1. I thought it was pretty
I
good,
did too.
so I'm
We're going to be talking about that soon enough, but
Yay.
not right now, because we have a couple more things to get into, like, for instance, the DC quick hits, because, that's what we always start with, and we got to talk about the Parrots, Ducks, Pelicans of DCU news. The first
blindness
thing,
is a
the
real
thing that
problem.
was in the headline is apparently, there's possibly a worrying update in regards to the future of Moz, aka My Adventures with Superman, as the show plans to end when Lanterns begins on August 16th. The future of it is in question. So the showrunner, Jake Wyatt, says they have yet to receive a season 4 renewal. My Adventure with Superman has not yet renewed for a 4th season. Views have been great, our best ever. Our stakeholders, DC Studios, Adult Swim, HBO Max, have been great to the show, but each has to chart its own future in an uncertain, unstable climate that takes time. Fans waited 2 years for My Adventure with Superman Season 3. There was some concern that as the series predates the formation of DC Studios, the new era of DC and the emergent DC universe could lead to the show's early cancellation, which wasn't the case since James Gunn is a fan of the show. So, that wasn't that, but now we have new concerns in terms of DC's, parent company, Warner Brothers, going to merge with Paramount, as we've talked about it at length on this fucking show. We'll see if the merging is gonna stop gonna stop the show in its tracks, or they're gonna try and greenlight it for another season while the future of WB is in limbo right now. Dan, what are your thoughts on this? I know you don't really care about the show itself. I'm just, since this borrows into more of what you know about in terms of the business side, what do you think is the future of this show?
Yeah. By the way, I just want to say my internet, there's an outage, so I'm like working off of a backup. That's why I've been in and out of the show. But anyway, as far as Superman, My Adventures with Superman, season 3, it took like 2 years for them to come out with the season 3, right? So there was a decent sized gap between season 2 and 3. Ideally, like what Disney has been doing now with my or Your Friendly Neighborhood, was it My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man? Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. As well as the other, like X-Men 97, they've been working diligently to make sure that we get a yearly season, so they're working ahead, like TV world did for decades and decades, until streaming started and all of a sudden new people entered the business that didn't know how to do TV. So ideally what you would want to do is have the writing room already up and running for season 4, and then while season 3 is airing, you would be working on season 4. But the fact that they haven't done that, I don't know how much this has to do with the merger, but I'm sure it has something to do with it, because it doesn't seem like this is a high enough, budgeted kind of a project that it would be at the threshold where Paramount needs to provide direct guidance to Warner Brothers. Like, okay, spend the money, please. But it very much could be getting caught up in that. The upside here is that James Gunn seems to like this, and that's why he didn't cancel it as one of the things that he, axed when they started up DC Studios. And even though the show predates DC Studios, like you said, John, so I'm willing to bet that this continues. It's just, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 2 or 3 year gap. And that's unfortunate. Right. But again, that's part of I guess this is where the DJ and IATSE are right in saying the longer this whole saga goes on for the merger, and this will affect things like My Adventures with Superman, and the people who work on it, they don't know when they'll be invited back to work on the next season. So, but I'm not going to say that this means the show is getting canceled. I just think it means we might have to wait another 2-3 years. For all we know, it might mean that it gets canceled because the new ownership comes in and they decide not to continue it. So there's always the chance that happens. So I would say watch season 3 with the intention that this may be the last of the show that you'll see. But considering how popular it is with this audience, I mean, it just might mean we have to wait a few years for the next season. So,
right. Yeah. Yep. But now we move on to the comic side. But they were talking, but it's, just kind of talking about the, because they do plan on doing a, not a crossover, but they do plan to have like 2 stories on it, like an annual of both the mainline Batman and the Absolute Batman. And they did a few subtle differences between, in other words, they got the Robins, they got the Penguins, they got the Catwomans. I would say the Absolute one is definitely a lot better. They got the
Yep.
Poor Jim Gordon. Anyway, poor Jim Gordon. Poor absolute Jim Gordon. Ouchies. Too soon. And yet Gotham City needs them both. So yeah. But I just love this. I love it. Like, oh, Jim, too soon. Am I right? Jim Gordon's line was very disrespectful, and I applaud the shock value. That was fucking ruthless, bro. Anyway, although speaking of Jim Gordon,
the team of Robins I still don't get, but yeah,
because the whole thing was like Jim Gordon got killed, and now Barbara is like taking the mantle of another hero to combat. I mean, I think get revenge or something.
Hubba, like Barbara Gordon is my new favorite Gotham City siren. Like holy shit. More,
I mean,
please.
Okay, sure. I mean, she doesn't. I mean, okay. I guess.
And more in a metaphorical sense, John, not literally, but like look at this costume.
Anyway,
holy shit.
But yeah, it looks like she's got like kind of like Doc Ock vibes a little bit. She's got like tendrils and shit. So, and she's got like the Batman Nightmare look tendrils from BVS.
That's
which
part
is
of her
cool.
costume. Oh shit. Okay.
I think so. It's like
I love the costume. I love the look of Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, no, it looks cool.
This looks.
Here's
also it looks like it's literally like the Batman Beyond cowl almost, like with the really long ears too. So yeah, I love it.
It reminds me more of Arkham Knight, but yeah, Arkham, the Arkham series. So yeah,
right,
very cool.
Yeah, and she's also got the big bat.
Also, I like
logo,
Dragoda Emporium. Haha, cute.
Everything
Nick, cute.
Yeah.
But
Absolute
yeah,
Batgirl,
so Scott Snyder
great.
posted this. Kick ass, looks awesome, badass, love it. Yeah,
who's
really
this
cool.
artwork by? Mark Brooks.
Mark Brooks art. So
nice, good stuff.
Way to go.
This was one of the best things I saw today. Yeah,
it was certainly better than a lot of other things we're going to read later. But apparently Brad Pitt of National Airplane Choker praises Colin Farrell's performance in The Penguin. How do you emote the way he did with an inch of rubber on your face? I'm telling you, it's impossible to get any kind of emotion out, but he did it with a limp and with having to sit through the chair for prosthetics. That drives me crazy. I had poison ivy, but I'm a lot as a kid on my face and neck from rolling around in the woods. That stuff drives me crazy. I cannot do it. So Brad Pitt praised your boy, and cool.
I mean, Colin Farrell is the better actor, so yeah.
I mean, yeah, we know that.
But also,
and he also doesn't choke slam his wife on airplanes, so there's that too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Anyway.
snakes on a plane. Anyway, let's keep going.
And then from the Wonder Woman account, cute, funny joke to end DC Quick Hits on. But I have learned that slay means something entirely different in this world. So this I could easily hear like any Wonder Woman, definitely, well, more so like animated version, but or the New 52 version. I could also hear from the DCAMU. I could definitely hear her saying that. So yeah, this is very funny. I like that a lot. Cute,
I love
very
it.
Cute.
Mm-hmm.
But
slay, go
Dan,
slay. She's like, what?
What? Let's go from the biggest highs of like absolute and Colin Farrell praise to something fucking hell of a lot worse with
something in the
Supergirl.
way, John. Is something in the way?
Something is in the way, in Craig Gillespie's way, and that's human creativity, because it seems like your boy maybe used a little bit of AI on the set of Supergirl in pre-production. I mean, nothing crazy, but it's still not great. Apparently, he used generative AI to make some conceptual artwork of Jason Momoa's Lobo, and it's got the internet in a tizzy, and it receives so much fucking pushback that, yeah, they privated the video pretty fucking quickly because of the pushback. But we now know, and people are very much pissed. And yeah, so this doesn't help the anti-Supergirl gravy train that many people have gone on. So, oopsies.
I mean,
not great.
They're so close, John. They're so close, right? Every time they get close. Because it's like today they were like, all right, that report came out yesterday about the future of DC TV and how things are, very up and down right now. We'll put out, I don't know if it was planned or if it was just reactionary. We'll put out the first 5 minutes of Lanterns. Take that, internet. And then, they also decided to like promote Supergirl coming out on digital soon. And then lo and behold, it just looks like basically what happened is they did some AI generated artwork as concept art for like the costume look of Lobo. And they were going through that. I'm like, look, studios should know how sensitive that subject matter is. That they should have like gone through like the QC and QA on this video before it got released. Like somebody should have caught this and be like, we can't include this in the video. Even if, look, I personally don't have a problem with this because it's a very limited use case and that's something that AI is actually good at.
But here's the thing, Dan.
Because it doesn't make it into the final movie.
But here's
still
the
problematic
thing.
for like
the problem is this is all we know of that was used. Like, oh, okay, fine. It was just used as a concept art thing. It's still gross. And it's still like they could have hired a concept artist to draw some, or, gone back to the decades of fucking comics that Lobo has been in and just grabbed a picture from a comic book. Not very hard. That's the good thing about comic books and comic book adaptations. There's literally endless amounts of concept art you can pick from any comic book panel in the history of comic book media. So it's like, yeah, guys, come on. What are you doing here? But it's also the fact of like, it's a little bit of a rickety, kind of thing, because it's like, well, where else did they use AI? We hope that it was just this, but considering the look of the film that people have, lampooned, that maybe they used AI in post-production, maybe they used it during production. We don't know. We pray and hope that it was just this, but we don't know if they used it in other forms. And now you're going to be like, well, I don't want to support DC because they use AI, even though it's just a small thing. It's a small seed that has been planted in a lot of people that are like, I'm now never going to support DC again because they use Gen AI, because, yeah, it was just this one small thing, but where else did they use it that we don't know about?
Yeah.
Because AI is being used in a lot of productions that we don't know about. We just know it's being used. So, that's not good.
Sunday can't come fast enough. Sunday can't come fast enough. Hey, it depends on if you like it or not.
It depends on if the show's good or not, and it don't be looking good. So
But look, this is just one of those things where, again, DC's PR department needs to get cleaned the fuck out. Like the last 4 months have been rough, and I know that some of the social media team does great work, but it's just. Like, guys, it's like the 2-step forward, 1 step back. Look, and by the way, remember that currently Warner Brothers is part of several studios that are suing Midjourney about their unauthorized use of the intellectual property in their AI algorithms. And Midjourney was like, why don't you guys, put your money where your mouth is and show us all the evidence of how your studios behind the scenes use AI in your workflows, because then it's a really fair fight, and how you're using that stuff, and you might be using it with other copyrighted material to generate like AI concept art with your own algorithms. And I'm like, stuff like this makes you wonder, maybe Midjourney had a point. So yeah. I mean, also, like, think about it this way, right? It's a job. Like, concept art isn't super expensive relative to, like, a lot of other things in a movie budget. And when your movie had a budget of like close to $200 million, whether you believe 170, $180 million, you can afford to pay concept artists to make this stuff for you and give you versions of this. Because back in the day, there was a time where that's all that you could do. And there's so many talented artists out there that could have done this. We did talk about Waller and Paradise Lost yesterday. We did like a whole extended thing yesterday, World Weeb. So you definitely go check that out. We went through the whole Ankler report and what it was talking about. But it's like the concept of, like they're saying here, Warping Fist, the concept of using AI for a character with thousands of illustrations. This movie is a joke. Yeah. I mean, I get it's a very limited thing, but I think this is just one of those situations where Craig Gillespie should have been more aware. They shouldn't have filmed that shit, or if they did, that shouldn't have made it into the edit. That should have been caught in one of the post-production reviews. What about the producers who were working on that video that they put up? Like, there's so many layers to this beyond even the actual use of AI, but obviously at the very core, they shouldn't have done this. There's like, dude, remember Marvel's gonna catch some strays here, but they fired their entire creative art team or whatever. I think I'm not.
It was like visual effects, I think.
Like, it wasn't visual effects. They were like the guys who made all the concept art for, like, for example, the finale of Endgame had been concept art worked on and prevised years before they even started working on the movie, and they developed like all the suit designs and stuff, and that was in-house, full-time people with benefits that they completely fired. These people were working with them for over a decade and helped Marvel get to where they got to, and then now they just decided, we don't want you guys full-time, we'll just hire you on a freelance basis, and maybe some of you not. And it's the same thing here. It's like, usually studios with the kind of budget that the money that they're spending here should have the ability to either have full-time department of artists that can do this, or be able to at the very least hire them for the project. Like, you had plenty of money in this movie. It's just, it makes you wonder again, like, how much incompetency is there in terms of where did the $170-180 million go? What did it go to? Because you could have easily, it would have cost maybe like a few $1,000s at most. If we just want to concept art some looks for Lobo, or like just bring in one of your comic book artists, or like several illustrators who have already done this before. Like you said, John, they can even work with the stuff that already exists, that's already in their digital archives of Lobo, that's probably already available in their CMS systems, that is tagged and ready and easily searchable, that they can just bring in, that they can even have an intern pull up together. But instead here we got Craig Gillespie, the director who obviously was a really bad fit and probably really hurt his career by signing up for this movie in hindsight and completely missing the mark, doing this. It's just, again, not the end of the world. And I feel like some of this is, overreaction will die down, but it's a pattern of events, and it really does not reflect well on DC at a time where you could tell they're like drowning, like Caleb was saying, 6 feet under. They're just trying to dig their way out, swim their way to the surface, and it's like
they're trying to swim to the surface, but they just have this concrete block attached to their ankle that they can't seem to untie.
It's like they were so close, but they did take this down pretty quickly.
They did take it down, but the seed's been planted. The
internet never forgets. I mean,
the internet never forgets. Like, they can take it down all they fucking want. You're gonna have tons of people that are gonna boycott DC because this one fucker used Gen AI to gen this character, and it doesn't even fucking look good. It looks like shit. It looks like, it doesn't even look like Jason Momoa or Lobo. It looks like a Rob Zombie cosplay.
Kind of looks like Momoa. Yeah, it does. The eyes are there, but yeah.
But it looks like Jason Momoa if he was on fucking Ozempic. That's what it fucking looks like. But yeah, it's just you've planted a bad seed, and that's permanent, bro. Like in this world of like how many people despise AI for the right reasons, well, Gen AI
Mm-hmm.
specifically, you're gonna have people that are gonna boycott DC permanently because of this one thing. Because it's like, oh well, what else did they use AI for? Yeah, you could say, oh, it was just Craig Gillespie, it was just this concept art thing, but nah, because it's like specifically, like you could have like, oh, like like for instance, I think it was the Brutalist, where they were like they used AI to like help like better do like the Hungarian accents of Adrian
Mm-hmm.
Brody and Felicity Jones's characters. I'm like, okay, I don't think that's necessary, but if you really wanted to help the accents, then sure, I guess you're not taking a job away from someone to do that. This is taking a concept artist jobs away for you to do this. Like you're taking a job away when you're doing this. So it's irredeemable. It's like it's an unforgivable offense because you took
Yeah.
someone's job away because of what a shitty fucking image that doesn't even look like the character or the actor it's trying to represent. Like it's yeah, it's just like you really fucked up. And the thing is, James Gunn or Peter Safran cannot sit idly by. They can't sit on this. Like James Gunn, you have to fucking come out as a CEO and say, "Look, we apologize in this world of where AI is, being used too heavily. Like, fucking use Craig Gillespie as a scapegoat, or Craig Gillespie or James Gunn need to fucking say something, or Peter Safran. They can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna, just be on Threads playing with my dogs. No, you gotta fucking do your job, man. You can't just be like, oh, answering fucking questions on Threads and like hoping this will blow over. You need to do your fucking job, man. You need to fucking come out and say, like, you need to apologize. You need to promise that this isn't going to happen again. We're going to have better oversight. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. DC is in a really bad spot right now, and you need to fucking step up, bro. You need to step up and be like, fucking what? We fucked up. I'm sorry. Like in the this movie, but all that shit. You need to step up. You can't just be like, oh, I'll wait in the background. No, you can't do that. You really legitimately cannot fucking do that because you're the head of this shit. You're not, oh yeah, I'm just the director. No, you're not just the director. That's the problem. You're the co-CEO. You or Safran or Gillespie needs to fucking confront this of like, need to apologize, need to say like, in this world of AI, we shouldn't have done this. It was a stupid thing. We picked laziness over, someone's job. We won't do it again. Like something. Well, whether or not people will believe that, the fact of you coming out to say something means a hell of a lot more than just saying fucking nothing and hoping it blows over. Because that's what James Gunn and Peter Safran have been fucking doing the past, like, actually more James Gunn than Peter Safran. Peter Safran did say, like, yes, Supergirl was a blip, but we're staying the course of what we have in mind of this 10-year plan. So Peter Safran said, like, I would say like Peter Safran's probably the more likely one because James Gunn is just like, oh, I'm the director. I'm just directing my movie now. So Peter Safran of all the people, because he's part of the production side. He's the producer guy. He's the businessman of this co-partnership between him and Gunn. Safran or maybe Gillespie need to come out and say something. We apologize because if you don't, you're gonna look way fucking worse than you do right now, and that's a fucking problem. So yeah, it not only takes a job away, but you're replacing a talented artist with horrendous AI slop. Yeah, okay. James Gunn apology video. James Gunn needs to lock the fuck in. Everything is a disaster. And also, why the hell is Craig Gillespie using AI, and why was he hired? I don't like, because the thing is, he promised James Gunn like, hey, this is the vision I want to do, and James Gunn trusted him, and then it was only until post-production I'm like, oh, I fucked up by hiring you, let me change the movie now. So I think maybe this was like, so I think it was Your Art said like, oh, it was them like making Craig Gillespie a scapegoat because he said that the middle was James Gunn's idea, so maybe that was that. I don't know, but whatever it is, you don't make it up. Yeah, it's like, don't ask, don't tell. Like, You know, it's like if you use it, just keep it on the fucking. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying using AI in like big art projects like this is okay, but you need to like at least at the very least fucking keep it secret because of the mighty pushback that you're gonna get for using it. So yeah, you fucked up. Now Saffron Gillespie, you need to fucking apologize. I would say more so Saffron. I mean Gillespie can apologize, but it doesn't really matter because he's never fucking directing another DC movie again. I'll tell you fucking that right now. But yeah, Saffron needs to say something because I know James Gunn is never gonna fucking say anything because he's the creative guy. He's not gonna fucking bother with that. So Saffron needs to fucking say something and be like, "Look, we fucked up and we need to apologize and do something with that because if you don't, DC is gonna be fucked 6 ways from Sunday, and the goodwill, what little goodwill you have is gonna be fucking torched, bro. So get your shit together. I will give you that." Speaking of getting your shit together, next up is Lanterns. Well, I don't know how much of this is getting your shit together, but it's something, I guess. But yeah. Now we have Dan back. And the first bit of Lantern before we get into the big thing of, you know, the sneak peek, the clip of the opening of the episode, we're going to be talking about what Tom King posted. Yeah, I know. Oh my god, Tom King sucks, but this has nothing to do with that. This is actually, I think it's a cute image. It's nice. You know, Tom King being very prideful of, you know, Aaron Pierre on his first day on set. And he said, "Took this on the first day we turned the cameras on for Lanterns. That ring fit Aaron Pierre perfectly from the start." And he says debuts on HBO Max August 16th. So yeah, I think this is a cute image. Like, I'm behind my actor. I you know, he's perfectly cast, perfectly fit, and that's nice. That's nice. Oh, he ducked out. Okay, another outage. That's okay. Dan is using the Google slideshow. They're going to make documentaries about what the DCU has been doing. Yeah, it's going to be like the dark side of kids' TV or something. Yeah, correct. Eli Roth. The more I hear about Kirk Gillespie and what he wanted to do, the more I'm just confused by it. James Gunn also needs to take fault for hiring him and interfering in the worst way with Supergirl. Be on the right side of history, or at least pretend. Seriously. But yeah, so, you know, obviously this is a nice image. We're going to try and move on from the disaster of Supergirl and look forward to Lanterns, even though this might be its own disaster. This morning's Office, this is from... get the fuck out of here. Hey, it's Jenna Lynn. Probably a reporter of some sort. I don't know, influencer. She was apparently in the audience when they were debuting something Lanterns, with like a Lanterns teaser, which is where I think the first 5 minutes, like, kind of quote unquote premiered. But yeah, you have you got Chris Mundy, you got Aaron Pierre, Kyle Chandler, Garrett Dillahunt, Tom King, Damon Lindelof, the chick who's playing the sheriff, who's Kelly McDonald, I think her name is. And then I think that's Porna Jagannathan. I think that's her. But yeah, essentially doing like a Q&A and whatever the hell else in regards to this teaser for Lanterns that we got. Dan, like buddy, you okay? Can you hear us?
I'm looking forward to more and more for her. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay, sorry. I'm having an internet out. I'm gonna be in and out a little bit. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. I was geeking out to like the Justice League.
John Lantern, the best Green Lantern.
Tom King post.
But yeah, this is cool. This is fun.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is gonna be good.
No, I mean they answered a bunch of questions. We're gonna probably get into it more of it tomorrow. But it was a good like, you know, presser event to kind of be the show. This is like the week to really get this out there. So.
Oh come on, it's funny. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here, Eric. Come on, that's funny. I like, come on, like literally there's the second video that we had, the second newest video, not live show video we have, is me doing an ugly face. We all have had ugly faces, and Dan put it on a fucking thumbnail too, so see how that goes. Like, whatever, man, it's just what we got, what we do here. Come on now. Yeah, John Lantern's just like with John Helldiver and John Halo. But now let's get into the big news. The biggest news that we have today, which is in fact Lanterns. I'm gonna try and okay, good. It's not playing. We don't get demonetized, but the first 5 minutes of Lanterns is here to watch now, just as The Ring has willed it, aka we're trying to salvage anything so people will like us again. But as we all know, Lanterns premieres this Sunday at 9 p.m. on HBO Max. So Dan, before your internet craps out again, why don't you give your thoughts on the first 5 minutes of the Lanterns episode that we got today?
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. I loved it. Every bit of the 5 minutes it gives you a better idea of, again, how Jon Stewart grew up and kind of like saw himself as like the next man in line. Even so, I don't know. I guess it means that he wasn't chosen. He's just like the backup. I like the characterization of Hal Jordan. He does come across as a little like, comic booky, over the top, egotistical, like, very overconfident. It's a little understated, but I see it, and especially when he shows up, like he's like, I'm late, and you can tell, like, Jon Stewart, being a military man, is like not happy that Hal Jordan is just like very nonchalant, even though he himself was a test flight pilot. So
technically, Hal Jordan is also military, just a different branch of the military.
That's what I mean. Like that's what I mean. Like that, even though he's himself as a test pilot, clearly like he's just lived the superhero.
I mean,
I will say though, like
I watched it, so that technically by defension it is watchable, but in terms of
it is fun. It's more than watchable. I enjoyed it. Look, I enjoyed it. I think it's a good, way to wet your whistle until we get to the actual episode. Again, I'm not going to judge the whole show based on just the first 5 minutes. But,
oh, yeah, of course not.
And again, you get to see the father character, the young version, and then you get to see he's got two brothers. I wonder if Jon Stewart's brothers are going to be still around. Kind of like with, Wonder Man had his brother and that show. So, like, I like when you get to, like, explore more of the family elements, the roots of the characters.
Yeah.
John, the interesting thing about the timeline, so in 1996, Hal Jordan had been doing this lantern thing for 10 years.
Yeah.
Or he became publicly known as Green Lantern 10 years. So 1986
in like 86
is when he first,
which by the way,
in
is
the public
year
eye
that Top Gun came out. Very, got that. Because, like, I mean,
I have a feeling
if anybody belonged in Top Gun,
they're doing the whole like 10-year
thing.
Bro. Yeah. Like 1986, 1996 to 2016, 2026. I wonder what happened in 2006, because that's the only 6th year that they haven't covered yet. Like that's significant to the show. Because Hal Jordan became publicly known as Lantern, or outed himself as Lantern in 1986. In 1996, we see doing the TV interview on 60 Minutes. Interesting little connection there. I'm like, they could all be part of the same company, because CBS might be a sister network to Warner Brothers stuff soon.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so 86, 96. I wonder if 2006 says anything, So hey, Jalen, I liked it. I'll give it like if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. The whole like shooting the apple on top of the dude. I'm like, okay, so your dad is intense. You clearly take after your dad, and he knew that you would be watching the TV show, even though you were not supposed to. And clearly his brothers seem to be more scared. So it's like they show that this guy has Jon Stewart, even when he's young, is somewhat fearless in that sense. Like his bar for fear is high. And again, the theme of like, what was the one question you needed to become Lantern? Are you afraid? And apparently his dad also knew about it. So I'm like, is this like, where are we going with the, are you afraid? So it's interesting. It gives you a lot of questions that you can ask, and hopefully that they will answer as the show goes on. So I liked what they gave us. And my only concern is that they're really pushing this hard now because they know the interest level is not as high as what they expect. Because not every show puts out 5 minutes the week before the show premieres.
That's a good question.
But also it could just be because they
won't
just want to change the narrative on DC, with how things were going this week. But obviously we've already talked about how, DC at large failed the assignment there. So anyway, what did you think about it?
Yeah. So I mean, I wasn't terribly like. I mean, the vibe is like, it feels very much like an HBO show. Whether that works for Green Lantern depends on the person. I don't think it does, but I'm gonna watch it. That's the best I could say. I'm like, no matter what, like for the show and curiosity's sake, I'm gonna watch it. But I just watch it and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel like Jon Stewart at all. This doesn't feel like the character to me. And I've read and watched plenty of Jon Stewart stuff. It just doesn't feel like it to me. when I was watching it, and I asked my friend this, who also has read, extensive. I think he's going through a lot of Jon Stewart stuff right now. Um, and I'm like, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. And he agreed with me, and I'm like, it feels like they're stealing Frank Leminski's backstory for John. Now, it's entirely possible that it's just, oh, he's preparing him to be a soldier, which I hope is the case. But the vibe I'm getting, especially with what we know from the teaser, we know that at the very least a Guardian, maybe the Laura Linney one, maybe a different one, visited the family when John was a baby. So it looks like they implanted something where it's like, oh, he's going to grow up to be a Green Lantern. So first off, they're doing like the Chosen One thing, which apparently has been done in the comics before, which I don't really care for, because the Chosen One is still the most like annoying trope there is. It's still gonna be here no matter what, because it's part of the hero's journey. It just, I just like Chosen One. I'm sick of it when it, especially for characters where it doesn't belong, like Jon Stewart. But the vibe I'm getting here is like, in terms of like, oh, Hal Jordan was asked, "Are you afraid?" and you say no, and there's that. They with what his father goes, "Are you afraid?" He shoots the apple off his head. And the vibe I'm getting, because now, if you guys don't know this, I read a lot of Rebirth stuff when that was coming out, because I'm like, oh, this is a perfect time to hop onto the comic stuff. So I was reading a lot of it, and a run that I liked was Sam Humphries' Green Lanterns run, which was with Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz. That's how I became a huge, Jessica Cruz fan, was because of that. And I think like, again, my friend agreed with me on this. Frank Leminski is a character who became the Phantom Lantern. So he was a guy, Frank Leminski was pretty much a nobody. Like, he wanted to be somebody, but he was always a nobody. He got passed up for stuff, and like nobody remembered him. He was a forgettable kind of guy. He was kind of like Frank Grimes in The Simpsons, where like he did a lot of stuff to be remembered, but nobody remembered him, and kind of just had perpetual bad luck. So Frank Leminski was like a guy who like eventually learned, I think he worked with Hal Jordan when he was a pilot. And and so Frank Leminski was like, he realized like this Green Lantern thing, and he like trained to be fearless. He trained to be a Green Lantern, and then like, Jon Stewart eventually became a Green Lantern. Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, like all these people like were passing him to be a Green Lantern. And eventually he was going to be chosen. But then the ring sensed something, like the ring went to this Frank Leminski guy. Again, this is all retcon because this was part of the Rebirth run. Where he's like, "Oh, you're going to be the next." Wait, nope. You have fear in you. You're still not Green Lantern material. And then they go off to Guantanamo Bay to, for Simon Baz, who was, got accused of being a terrorist. And he became Green Lantern, obviously. Ironically, the worst one. But then Frank Leminski like held on to that. He had a chip on his shoulder, and he's like, I can never be a Green Lantern. So eventually, when I don't know if again, the stuff is muddled now, because it's been a long time since I read it. Again, this was like almost a decade ago when I started reading this stuff. So, and then Frank Leminski eventually became evil. He became the Phantom Lantern, where he got this phantom ring that was supposed to have all the spectrum in one. It was proved too powerful. The Guardians tried to hide it. He found it. He became fucking evil Green Lantern by the Phantom Lantern. Now Frank Leminski was like a guy that like, was a guy that like trained, who knew of the Green Lantern Corps and trained himself to be a Green Lantern, because he knew like it existed, and he knew what to do, and was trying his hardest to be a Green Lantern. And it seems like they're doing that here, where they're like, his parents are not just training him to be a military brat, they're training him to be a Green Lantern. And I'm like, why are you borrowing? If this is the case, I could be wrong. It's only the first 5 minutes. But the vibe I'm getting is like, why are you stealing Frank Leminski, a known bad guy's backstory, for your main character? That feels fucking weird. And like, I don't know. I saw that. My friend saw that. He agreed with me. Who again knows a lot about comics. He knows more than I do. And so I just feel that that was like a very weird choice. Now, again, it's just the first 5 minutes. I'm not going to say that this is the worst. I know probably people were like, oh my God, John's going to say that. No, it's just the first 5 minutes. I don't really like it. It felt off to me. It felt kind of icky. It didn't feel like Jon Stewart to me. It didn't feel like Hal Jordan to me. I mean, the cinematography, the look and everything, it looks good. Like, it looks pretty good. Yeah, like, but like it's an esteemed, prestigious HBO show. Of course it's gonna fucking look good. But I just think I don't know. It just like it didn't hit for me. Like I give it like maybe like a 4.5, maybe a 5. I just didn't really, care for it that much. The characters feel wrong. The story feels like has a weird start to it. But I'm excited for Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler, but neither of them feel like the character right now. So, I mean, I hope it gets better. I hope it's good, but it's looking like the Ryan Reynolds movie is looking better and better as the days go by with how much we've seen from this. So, that's just my opinion though. I mean, I want the show to be bad? No, but I just fucking don't trust Tom King or Damon Lindelof with their shit. So, we'll see how it goes, but I can't imagine that this will be anything of note. But you know, um, yes, Sky will be in Mr. Miracle. Yeah, the Rebirth one. I think both runs, Green Lantern Corps and Green Lanterns were good. I eventually stopped reading it because I think it got a little bit ridiculous. I know they like tried to like ship Simon Baz and Cruz. I'm like, don't hurt my girl like that. Don't ship her with the worst Green Lantern. Get the fuck out of here. It took them 5 minutes to give me a whole bunch of backstory. I loved it. I mean, I don't think they really did much, but okay. I'm hoping there was a secret character for what? Villain, hero, what is it? Uh, but yeah. Um, so yeah. With this, during a recent interview with New York Times, showrunner Chris Mundy confirmed that Lanterns was conceived as a multi-season series. However, he reiterated that the first batch of episodes is largely standalone. We're trying to really put Jon Stewart on his feet inside our show, but then once he's on his feet, he can walk around in the rest of the DC universe. We had no directives. We kind of talked about that the other day. Tom King hinted at a major plot twist and a break with canon. Oh boy, my favorite things. Breaking canon. Both of which could prove controversial. Yeah, that's really putting my nerves at ease. Like one of the worst fucking writers in comic history telling me he's doing something controversial with the show and won't be liked. Man, I can't fucking wait. Damon Lindelof acknowledged that they had a real fear of screwing it up. You're probably going to screw it up. Feel how much we cared about Hal and John, but admits if it doesn't, it's going to fall on its face. I can imagine. But yeah, it's something. Is it good? We'll see. It's not giving me any confidence, but sure. Enterprising. I enjoyed the 5-minute preview, but John's dad should be in jail. Like, what the fuck? I mean, that's how parenting was back in the fucking 70s, 80s, and 90s. They could be going for I can't click it. Okay, that's weird. They could be going for Phantom Lantern if Aaron Pierre gets obsessed with getting the ring and turns evil. I don't think they're gonna do that. Like call CPS. So second half is going to shit. Well, who knows? I mean, we'll see. Breaking canon might divide the audience. Really? Yeah, guys, like, come on. Don't tell that to the audience right now. Obviously, here's the thing. I don't mind tweaking stuff for, adaptations if it's in service of the story and done well, and if it doesn't take so much away from these characters and from their story, then it's fine. Like, if it works, it works. But like I've said this from the beginning, like I can't look at it just as an HBO. Like, it's not just like a prestigious HBO show. It's an adaptation of characters that have existed for decades. So, I'm still going to look at it like a comic book adaptation. Like, I have to. Like, sure, it's a prestigious true detective mystery show first and a superhero show second, but it's still a superhero show at the end of the day. I'm still going to judge it, and I'm like, are these characters going to feel like their characters? And for a friend of mine who hates fucking Tom King just as much as I do, arguably even more, even he's like, like I'm a little bit like, if you think I'm dour against this show, you should see my buddy. He's like, no, like, even at this point, the fucking Ryan Reynolds movie looks better than this shit. And I'm like, yeah, like, you know, I thought the John Stewart father was the Lantern. That's funny. Depends on what they've changed. I said, yeah, it depends on what they change, but it's like, if the story is good, I guess, but like, if it betrays so much of what makes these characters, what makes the setting, the story, then what's the point? Then you're just making your own fan fiction and calling it canon. That's essentially what it feels like. They changed the backstory with Superman's Kryptonian parents, and it worked. It'll be fine if it makes sense for the show. But to be fair, there is a precedent in the comics that Kryptonians can be evil. John Byrne did it in the post-crisis reboot, Superman the Man of Steel miniseries, where they made Kryptonians like this like cold, unrelenting kind of race until it was retconned like about a decade later in the 90s. So, you know, it's been done in the comics, like My Adventures with Superman, they also made Kryptonians evil. So it's just like, I don't know, it just feels kind of weird. Like, I don't mind certain Kryptonians being evil, like General Zod and Jaxer, that contingent. I don't mind them being evil because that works. Those are their characters. But like, making the entire Kryptonian race like full horrible evil feels weird to me, and especially Jor-El, like making Jor-El evil was, I don't like that. I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's to me, that's like kind of like what, you know, what Jean Grey is in A Brand New Day for me. Is just like, I don't agree with that. I don't like, oh, he'd start a harem, conquer the world. I don't like that. I don't think at the very least, even if you're gonna make Kryptonians evil, don't make Jor-El evil. Don't make her Lara Lorvan evil. Like those, like, even if the Kryptonian race is evil, don't make Jor-El evil. Like that just doesn't work. And I don't know. It's uncreative to me. It's not creative, and that shows you're not good at writing. If this is the way you have to challenge your hero, is just essentially changing the backstory. I'm like, that's not that. Well, that's just lazy writing. So I think there's a combination of Earth One and various lanterns. Yeah, I mean, when Lanterns was greenlit, specifically greenlit, they used the pictures of the Earth One Green Lantern stuff for that. So I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. That's fine, but it's just like, even then, make the characters feel like the characters, you know? But yeah, but this is the suit in Green Lantern. It's green. It's not very green, but it's still kind of sort of a little bit green. It's more green on the shoulders. But yeah, it's like, it's a very dark green. But this is you know, this is Hal Jordan in his Green Lantern suit in Lanterns for that 60 minutes kind of thing. Hey, we saw one death in the first 5 minutes. R.I.P. Oh, the apple. Oh, okay. It's a forest green. Yep, it's a very, very dark green. But yeah, I know, and I think someone did like an HD look of it, but I don't know. I think that got taken down. But yeah, so I'm not very excited for it, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to judge the whole show based on the first 5 minutes. I haven't been excited for the show ever since Tom King became a part of it, so I don't have much faith. But hey, I didn't have much faith in Supergirl, and I enjoyed that. Outside of the AI part, but you know. But now let's get into the final thing. It's Man of Tomorrow. Not a lot of Man of Tomorrow, just one Man of Tomorrow thing. And it's not very good news, but I mean, it's better than Supergirl using AI. So apparently today, or I guess yesterday, they were filming interior scenes. It looks like they were filming scenes. It doesn't say Daily Planet scenes specifically, but they said David Cornsweet is reportedly filming interior scenes as Clark Kent for Man of Tomorrow, and no set photos are expected. So that's the bad news. We weren't going to get set photos yesterday or today, which is sad, but you know, that's how the cookie crumbles. So, but that's it. That was the only thing for Man of Tomorrow. No set photos, and they're filming scenes. He's filming scenes as Clark Kent right now. Cool. Well, not right now, but like yesterday they did. So yeah. Canon Schmanon. DC, we back up. To be fair, I have old Green Lantern comic covers with that shit agree. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dan.
I don't know
can
if you
speak?
can hear me, but I just wanted to say, I just wanted to say goodbye at the end because my network is very on the box. So
that's okay. We still appreciate you, Dan. But it is the end of the show. Thanks for watching, guys. Longer than I would have liked, but hey, it's before 3 a.m, so I guess that's something. But thank you guys for watching. Apologies for the kind of rushed start and Dan's shitty internet, but we pulled through.
Sorry.
It's not great being a DC fan right now, but hopefully they can bounce back, get back on their feet, and all this stuff. Just try to bob and weave the negativity. I know that's very hard to do. I try my best. The only reason I have to do it here is because it's part of the job. But I try to, in my everyday life, I try to bob and weave that shit because I frankly don't want to fucking hear about it, and people are assholes. So, but keep your Blue Lantern rings on. Have hope. Be blessed. Do whatever you can to stay bright in this dark world as a DC fan. Because remember, it's the darkest just before the dawn. The dawn is coming.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Honka honka!
And with that, fuck David Ellison, fuck Jeff Snyder, and especially after that 5-minute preview, fuck